Chapter 1530. After checking again and making sure the surroundings were safe, Night Sorrow sunk the Hautian god pagoda to the bottom of the river. Then, his main body entered and began to cultivate. After entering the mastery of the will of destruction, he had to deduce and comprehend it on a deeper level. Although Night Sorrow's current realm was deep, his soul power was strong, and his deduction ability was high, it still needed time. After glancing at the river, Night Sorrow's clone set up a king-level inter-realm transmission array and then hid it with an illusion array. Then, he flew away to complete some missions. 9 Regions World. Night Sorrow's clone came out from the Heaven Sealing Hall and nodded to the group of people waiting with a smile. "Let's go to the tea house over there to talk." The area close to the Heaven Sealing Hall was filled with buildings belonging to the 9 Regions City's City Lord Mansion, such as the Chamber of Commerce, the Alchemist Guild, the Blacksmith Guild, and so on. The only one that had nothing to do with the City Lord Mansion was the tea house. It was for Night Sorrow's clone to rest in the Heaven Sealing Hall and come out to drink tea and chat with friends and family. The owners were Chun Chin and Night Sorrow. At the tea house, Sikong Chiu made tea for everyone. "How's the situation?" Qing Emperor asked. "After going through the wind tribulation and fire tribulation, we successfully passed through the passage and arrived in the celestial realm. Disciple's main body has already hidden to cultivate. My clone went out to understand the situation and then made some suitable arrangements according to the situation." Night Sorrow said, "Be careful." Misty Rain reminded Night Sorrow mainly because he was worried. In the celestial realm, Night Sorrow controlled his clone to move forward, and his soul power was also constantly probing. At the same time, Night Sorrow also had some understanding of the celestial realm. The sky was higher, the vast aura was stronger, and the space was more stable. When Night Sorrow used his full strength, there were only slight cracks in the space, which was several times stronger than the Great World. #L. Forever exempt from Look. Night Sorrow understood the vastness of the celestial realm. There were many realms, but there was only one celestial realm. It was the core of all realms. After flying for half a day and traveling more than 2 million kilometers, Night Sorrow finally saw a city. From afar, Night Sorrow did a scan. There was a defensive formation at the city gate, and the one guarding it was king. The captain was a senior king. Night Sorrow felt that it was more appropriate to position himself as a practitioner who had just left the mountain. Thinking of this, Night Sorrow smiled. In fact, he was an aboriginal who had just arrived in the celestial realm and did not know anything. Retracting his aura, Night Sorrow arrived at the city gates. After being stopped, he had to hand over 2 Saint Spirit stones before he was allowed to enter the city. Night Sorrow was quite pleased that they didn't encounter any difficulties and were able to speak the same language. After entering the city, Night Sorrow was very cautious as he sensed everything in the city. A newcomer needed to first understand the city so that he wouldn't make any mistakes. After walking around the city, Night Sorrow found an inn and paid the spirit stones to stay. Yishang was drinking tea in the main hall of the inn, listening to others talk and gathering the information he needed to know. Among the practitioners, they talked about experience, who had gained what, and so on. Night Sorrow did not obtain any valuable information, but a name caught his attention. The Eastern Hao Emperor. After staying in the inn for half a day, Night Sorrow casually walked around the city. This was a city that Night Sorrow had seen. The city was very big. Although it was not as big as the 3 main cities of the Primal Chaos realm, it was about the same as the main cities of the various factions. Many of the people walking on the streets were high-level practitioners. There were many king and sovereign lords, but Night Sorrow realized that there were still very few heaven monarchs. When he came to the city called Flying Cloud City, he only saw 2 heaven monarchs. This made Night Sorrow understand that not everyone in the celestial realm was an expert. Although the environment of the realm was better, every life had to cultivate step by step after being born. The children of heaven monarchs might have a good foundation and resources, but they would not soar to the sky in one go. They also had to cultivate slowly. Night Sorrow went to a grocery store. Although it was called a grocery store, it was very big. It was at least as big as a first-class store in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Night Sorrow bought a map and a handwritten book of anecdotes. He wanted to understand some of the knowledge, so the handwritten book of anecdotes was more comprehensive. After leaving the grocery store, Night Sorrow walked around and bought a few books about humanities. In other stores, Night Sorrow bought maps. One map might not be accurate, but after comparing a few, he would be able to come to a conclusion. In the last store, Night Sorrow bought a book called The Celestial Demon List. It introduced the experts of the celestial realm. After flipping through it, Night Sorrow was interested. The Celestial Demon List introduced the people in detail. It also introduced the forces they belonged to. This was what he needed. Then, Night Sorrow returned to the inn with his gains. Then, he started to study the map and handwritten book. As he studied, Night Sorrow realized that the celestial realm was very vast. Even with teleportation portals, it was not easy to travel everywhere. The celestial realm was too big. After comparing the maps that Night Sorrow had, the most detailed area was the map of the Donghao region in the celestial realm. The Donghao region was only a corner of the celestial realm. The strongest force in the Donghao region was the Donghao mountain, and the leader was the Donghao monarch. The Donghao region covered millions of miles, and the Donghao mountain only occupied the core region. It was the leader of the power structure. There were many smaller forces in the vast territory below. Night Sorrow flipped through the map and closed it. He felt that these maps were not enough. If he wanted to understand the celestial realm and the Donghao region, he would have to go to a bigger city, or even Donghao City. Only then would he be able to understand in detail, analyze, and determine where to set up a teleportation portal. A teleportation portal could be set up anywhere, but Night Sorrow was very careful. It was related to the future of the Chaos Realm. If he did not choose a good location, he could face a disaster at any time. Night Sorrow chose a route and began to teleport. After a dozen teleportals, Night Sorrow arrived at Donghao City in the Donghao region. After exiting the teleportation portal, Night Sorrow looked back and heaved a sigh of relief. The teleportation portal in Donghao City also used king-grade teleportation crystals. This made Night Sorrow realize how precious imperial-grade teleportation crystals were. Night Sorrow was stopped as soon as he exited the teleportation portal. Where is this Heaven Monarch from? This was the Heaven Monarch guarding the teleportation portal. It was not just one, but two Heaven Monarchs. They were all wearing the same long robes with cloud patterns embroidered on the shoulders. That was the symbol of a member of the Donghao Mountain. I am from the Flying Cloud City. I am an itinerant cultivator. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and said, "If you have any grievances to resolve, please report to the City Lord Mansion. The City Lord Mansion will give you an explanation. However, Donghao City does not prohibit martial arts. Please do not make a mistake." An older Heaven Monarch spoke. It was a warning, but it was also respectful. The fifth update has arrived. Chapter 1531. If he was an ordinary cultivator, these two Heaven Monarchs would not say anything and just do things according to the rules. However, since a Heaven Monarch was here, they still had to show some respect. So you two think too much. Night Sorrow is just out for a walk. There is no grudge or hatred between us, Night Sorrow said. The two Heaven Monarchs guarding the teleportation array nodded and did not say anything. Heaven Monarchs disdained to lie. Night Sorrow said that he was here for a walk, so he was here for a walk. They believed him. Walking in Donghao City, Night Sorrow felt the grandeur. Donghao City was much bigger than Reincarnation City and Shenhuang City. The guards on the street were all monarchs and even Heaven Monarchs. When they saw Night Sorrow, they took a few more glances but did not say anything. After finding a restaurant, Night Sorrow ordered a pot of wine and 2 side dishes. He drank the wine while listening to others talk. The conversation was about a battle. The table was talking about how the young master of Donghao Mountain had killed an emperor-level scaled dragon. Night Sorrow understood that the young master of Donghao Mountain was also an emperor-level cultivator. Otherwise, he would not have such a battle record. At this time, a man sat opposite Night Sorrow. "Taoist friend, your back is not bad. I am a blacksmith. Can I have a look at it?" Night Sorrow looked at the man with an intermediate-level king cultivation but did not say anything. He found that the man's eyes were not straight enough. I feel that you are imposing. What's wrong with having a look? The man smiled. Sorry, weapons are not for others. Night Sorrow refused directly. Lu-san, are you starting to lie again? A woman entered the restaurant with 2 attendants. Madam, didn't I compensate you for what happened last time? Don't chase me and ruin my business. The man named Lu-san glanced at the woman and left the restaurant. Thank you for your advice, Mississippi. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at the woman sitting next to him. It's nothing. You are vigilant and will not be deceived by him. The woman smiled and nodded at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. It was unbelievable that a mid-level king could fool a heaven monarch. Donghao City has a rule that forbids martial arts. His cultivation level doesn't matter. If he took your weapon and didn't return it to you, would you kill him? If you kill him, you'll break the rules. If you don't kill him, he won't give you the weapon, so you can only use resources to redeem it. Lu-san specializes in this. The woman could see Night Sorrow's confusion. It's my first time here, so I don't know much about the situation. Thank you. Night Sorrow expressed his gratitude once again. Lu-san was good at grasping weaknesses, and it was easy for him to succeed. The woman left after drinking the tea. Night Sorrow still sat there and didn't leave. He felt that the celestial realm was indeed complicated. In the primal chaos domain, no one dared to do this. No one dared to challenge the dignity of a heaven monarch. Night Sorrow found an inn in the city and stayed there. Then, he tried to get used to life in the celestial realm. Only by understanding more would he be able to fit in. As he got to know more, Night Sorrow understood some of the celestial realm situation. Beginner Emperor Realm cultivators were called emperors. Intermediate Emperor Realm cultivators were called emperors. Advanced Emperor Realm cultivators were called emperors. They all had titles behind their names. Emperor Donghao was an intermediate Emperor Realm cultivator. The top few on the celestial demon list were all emperors. The only special one was called the Demon King. First, the most famous one was a woman. She was the ethereal battle empress of the ethereal empire. Night Sorrow knew that to have a battle title, it meant that she was either battle-hungry or extremely powerful. The one that caught Night Sorrow's attention was the Celestial Saint Emperor. The force under his command was the Celestial Sect. He was a little annoyed and resentful. The celestial realm couldn't have 2 celestial sects. It must be the headquarters of the Celestial Sect in the Primal Chaos domain. This was because the Celestial Saint Emperor's name was Ling Wuji. Night Sorrow also saw a force called Yuan Daun. It was a sea force, but it was rather far from the Donghao City. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that it would be better to go to the Ethereal Empire and find a safe place to build a base. The Ethereal Empire was called an empire, but it was actually a force that had been established. It was the safest place in the Primal Chaos domain. According to the records, the Ethereal Empire's territory had never been invaded. It was the safest place. Indeed, the Yuan Dao Tian was related to the Primal Chaos domain's Yuan Dao Tian. It was a good choice to go there. However, Night Sorrow felt that the Yuan Dao Tian in the Primal Chaos domain was just an inheritance brought there by one person. It was hard to say if the Yuan Dao Tian would recognize it. Also, Night Sorrow didn't want to follow anyone. He was here to break through his shackles and increase his strength. He wasn't here to look at anyone's face. After making his decision, Night Sorrow set off. After settling things, he could set up a teleportation array. After continuously teleporting for 7 days, Night Sorrow arrived at the Ethereal Empire's territory. This was still relatively close to the Donghao City. If it was a further area or an area without a teleportation array, it would be very difficult to reach. The Ethereal Empire's Imperial City was at the foot of the Ethereal Sacred Mountain. Night Sorrow arrived at the Ethereal Empire's Imperial City. Donghao City was very majestic and prosperous. However, compared to the Ethereal Empire's Imperial City, it was a far cry. Without much effort, Night Sorrow got a map of the Ethereal Empire. Night Sorrow decided to build a base near a big lake outside the Ethereal Empire's territory. It was already far away from the core region of the ethereal empire. It was close to another force, Boundless Pavilion, and the Donghao city. Boundless Pavilion was a mid-tier force. This place called Star Moon Lake was a lawless area. The ethereal empire didn't rule or care about it. It was also a place that Boundless Pavilion and the surrounding forces didn't dare to touch. They couldn't afford to offend the ethereal empire. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow decided to find a suitable place to build a base near the Star Moon Lake. It was safer here. After making his decision, Night Sorrow rushed towards the Star Moon Lake. The closest city to the Star Moon Lake with a teleportation array was the ethereal empire's Greenwater City. It was over 10 million miles away from the Star Moon Lake. After a few teleportations, Night Sorrow arrived at Greenwater City and took a look around. He then left Greenwater City and flew towards the Star Moon Lake. As he wasn't in a hurry, Night Sorrow took 2 days to arrive at the Star Moon Lake. After arriving at the Star Moon Lake, Night Sorrow began to explore. He wanted to find a suitable place to build a base. In half a month, Night Sorrow had explored the surroundings of the Star Moon Lake. It wasn't that Night Sorrow was slow. It was just that the Star Moon Lake was too big. It was millions of square miles. After looking around and studying a few potential strongholds, Yishang began to explore the Star Moon Lake. He had to be cautious. If there was an Emperor-level demon beast lying in the lake, wouldn't that be like provoking the Almighty? Wouldn't he be asking for trouble? While flying above the Star Moon Lake to check if there were any hidden dangers, Night Sorrow discovered an island. The island was very big, with an area of more than 10,000 square miles. After landing on the island and exploring, Night Sorrow didn't find any powerful monster beasts. There were a few Saint King-level monster beasts that ran away when they saw him. After exploring, Night Sorrow felt that this place was better than the few locations he had chosen. The ethereal empire didn't care about this island. Perhaps they hadn't discovered it yet. It was very suitable for Night Sorrow to build a base. The 6th update has arrived. Chapter 1532. At the core of the island, Night Sorrow first set up an illusion array. Then he began to set up a teleportation array. It was not easy to set up an Emperor-grade teleportation array. He had to be very careful. There could not be any problems. Once there was a problem, he would be in big trouble. Night Sorrow's doppelganger set up the array. His original body also set off from the Donghao district and headed towards Star Moon Lake. This would be his stronghold in the future. Night Sorrow planned to stay here and cultivate slowly. The first time he set up an Emperor-grade teleportation array, Night Sorrow spent a month and tested it repeatedly. This time, it was relatively easier for Night Sorrow to set it up. However, it was also more time-consuming. It took him nearly 20 days to set it up. At this time, his original body also arrived and cultivated beside the teleportation array. After everything was set up, Night Sorrow used his energy to test the teleportation array again. When he felt that it was safe, he inserted the teleportation crystal. Seeing that the teleportation crystal lit up, Night Sorrow inserted a Saint Spirit Stone. Ordinary inter-realm teleportation arrays had a crystal slot because one Saint Spirit Stone was enough to support the teleportation. However, Night Sorrow was setting up an Emperor-grade teleportation array. He was worried that there would not be enough Saint Spirit Stones to support the teleportation. Therefore, he directly made a large slot that could store more than 10 Saint Spirit Stones at a time. After feeling it for a while, Night Sorrow's doppelganger activated the teleportation array and returned to the 9-domain world. Then, he walked around the Domain Lord's mansion and returned to the city in the sky. Several Lords of Heaven from the Domain Lord's mansion had arrived. Night Sorrow's return meant that the teleportation array was set up. This was good news for everyone. 6th Senior Sister, let's not drink tea. Let's have some wine. Night Sorrow was also very happy. As everyone drank, Night Sorrow explained the current situation. Domain Lord, you said that our stronghold is in the no man's land. But if they really want to attack, how are we going to withstand it? Heaven Lord Shin, who was still worried. Where there are people, there will be conflicts. It's unrealistic for our chaotic realm to find a paradise to develop. The only way to develop is to improve our strength. The celestial sect of the celestial realm is very strong. It's hard to say when they will cause trouble for our chaotic realm. We don't know the methods of the imperial realm cultivators. The only thing that can guarantee our safety is our own strength, Night Sorrow said. Domain Lord, do you have any plans? Tang Jianfeng asked. Let's head over right now and build a city first. We'll prepare the materials and send them over. The teleportation will cost us some Saint Spirit stones, but it's better than going out to buy materials and exposing ourselves, Night Sorrow said. Everyone nodded because Night Sorrow's idea was feasible. Also, let's discuss who's going and who's not. My personal suggestion is that you can go, but you can't leave Star Moon Island unless you're a high-level king because the risk is too high, Night Sorrow said. Okay, then we'll go prepare. We'll prepare the materials from the 3 realms of the chaotic realm and send them over to build the city, Tang Jianfeng suggested. Then let's start preparing. Regarding the construction of the city, I'll leave it to you, Heaven Lords, Night Sorrow said. What about you? Datura asked with a smile. She was relieved that Night Sorrow was safe. My original body is cultivating, and my clone is traveling the world. Since we've entered the celestial realm, we naturally have to integrate into the celestial realm. Level 9 is a blank for us. We lack cultivation methods, alchemy methods, and refining methods. We need to get them, Night Sorrow said. Datura didn't say anything else. She was relieved that Night Sorrow's original body was cultivating while his clone was traveling. At the very least, Wuyo's life was at stake. After the family banquet, under everyone's impatient mood, Yishang led a group of people and teleported to the Heaven Realm. After arriving at the Heaven Realm, everyone felt it for a while. Everyone felt different. This place is not bad. Let's stabilize and develop first. Building the city is not a problem, but the defense formation is difficult. We can set up the formation of the Heaven Lord Realm, but it can't stop the attack of the Imperial Realm cultivators, Yuandao Heaven Lord said. The Imperial Realm cultivators can't attack us like that, right? Let's set it at the Heaven Lord Realm first and then slowly study it, Night Sorrow said. Everyone else nodded. Things were already developing in a good direction. After the discussion, the plan to build the city was set. Night Sorrow, what do you plan to do next? Datura asked. Become an Imperial Realm cultivator as soon as possible. Only then will we have the capital to establish ourselves. Everyone has been a Heaven Lord for many years and has accumulated enough experience. Let's all try to work hard, Night Sorrow looked at the group and said. Finally, his gaze fell on Datura. In Night Sorrow's heart, Datura was the most likely person to become an Imperial Realm cultivator. Alright, don't worry about the construction here. We will take care of it, Tang Jianfeng said. My original body is cultivating. You may not be able to contact him. If anything happens, immediately inform my clone in the Heaven Sealing Grand Hall. I will know what is going on, Night Sorrow said. After the arrangements were made, Night Sorrow took out a tent and brewed a pot of tea. He thought about the next step. Night Sorrow was confident that there was no problem with his foundation. What he needed now was comprehension. Night Sorrow's original body was cultivating in many aspects. He was comprehending the destruction will, the space-time will, and the battle intent and force. Night Sorrow also had some understanding of entering the Imperial Realm. It was the mastery of the force of heaven and earth. Battle intent and killing intent were the embryonic forms of force. Of course, this was different from King's will. Attribute will and battle intent were completely different concepts. Battle intent and killing intent were forces themselves. It was just that one's force was different from the force of heaven and earth. Datura's clone accompanied Night Sorrow while his original body stopped cultivating and went to the Dark Abyss to make arrangements. In addition, the Qing Emperor and the others' original bodies stayed on Star Moon Island while their clones went to the Star Moon Lake to scout. If there were suitable construction resources, they could use them locally. Groups of people came from the Chaos Realm. However, they were all the core members of the major forces and the Qing Emperor's dynasty's craftsmen. After everything started, Night Sorrow planned to leave. He wanted to take a look around. He had a lot of resources. If there was an auction, he could participate. In addition, Night Sorrow planned to join the God-Fiend Castle. The God-Fiend Castle was a force of the Union. In terms of influence, it surpassed all the top forces. Its existence was comparable to the Tianji Tower in the Nine Regions world. However, it was more mysterious. They could accept all kinds of missions, resource missions, hunting missions, and so on. Every member had a code name. No one knew who the true master of the God-Fiend Castle was. A monarch had once been killed by the God-Fiend Castle. As long as you could pay a sufficient price, you could even kill a monarch. This was the God-Fiend Castle. It fully displayed the law of the jungle. Chapter 1533. However, there were some restrictions on joining the God-Devil Castle. Only cultivators above the monarch level could join. King-level people didn't even want to join. Night Sorrow didn't tell anyone about this mainly because he didn't want them to feel pressured and worry about him. Besides, Night Sorrow wasn't afraid of anything. If the monarch could survive in the God-Devil Castle, he naturally wouldn't have a problem. As long as it wasn't an emperor, he was confident that he could fight. If it was a rookie emperor, Night Sorrow wasn't afraid at all. After scouting the surroundings of Star Moon Lake again and taking a look at the tent's construction, Night Sorrow left. Once he decided on something, he would do it without hesitation. This was Night Sorrow's character. When he reached Greenwater City, Night Sorrow took the teleportation array to Ethereal Imperial City. There were people guarding the teleportation array in Ethereal Imperial City, but they were very imposing. They didn't ask Night Sorrow anything. Because of what? Because he was confident. If anyone was looking for trouble, he would kill them. There was no need to warn them or inform them of the rules. If they broke the rules, he would kill them. It was that simple and domineering. Yishang went to an inn and stayed for a while before heading to the God-Fiend Castle. He wanted to ask about it in detail. Some time ago, he only understood the situation of the God-Devil Castle from the handbook. He wasn't clear about the details. If the conditions were harsh, then he didn't have to join. When he arrived at the God-Devil Castle, Night Sorrow was led in by the service staff. Then, he was asked what mission he wanted. He took out the mission and submitted it for evaluation. "Hello, I am here to ask about the conditions of joining the God-Devil Castle." Night Sorrow said, "Okay, please wait a moment." This woman who looked to be in her 30s but was already a high-level king said. With her cultivation, she was only a staff member hired by the God-Devil Castle. This woman went to a room and took a form. You can fill in the form or not. I will pass it to the higher-ups and they will make the decision. Holding the form, Night Sorrow took a look at it. He wrote, Heaven Monarch, in the cultivation column and 170 years old, in the age column. Other than that, he didn't write his name or background. Originally, Night Sorrow only wanted to write his cultivation level and nothing else. However, he felt that there would be an advantage if he wrote his age. Besides, he wouldn't be able to hide his age during the examination. Looking at the form filled by Night Sorrow, the woman's expression changed. A 170-year-old Heaven Monarch was too terrifying, and she had never heard of such a person. There was no such precedent. After taking the form, the woman told Night Sorrow to wait for her before she left. The God-Devil Castle had strict requirements when it came to accepting people. It didn't mean that the sovereigns and Heaven Monarchs would be accepted by the God-Devil Castle. It also depended on one's ability. Those with high cultivation but low battle strength were considered trash in the eyes of the God-Devil Castle. While waiting, Night Sorrow noticed 2 strands of soul power sweep past him. Night Sorrow only turned his head to glance at them before continuing to wait. At this moment, the woman who received him appeared in front of Night Sorrow. "The elder wants to see you. Just answer whatever he asks you," the woman said. Night Sorrow nodded and was brought into a secret room by the woman. Following which, the woman bowed and left. Seeing a chair, Night Sorrow sat down. At this moment, the wall opposite Night Sorrow rose. 2 elders appeared and sat opposite Night Sorrow. 170 years old. "That's about right," a green-robed elder said. "I am Nalen, the elder of Ethereal City's God-Devil Castle. I have some questions for you. You can answer them or not." However, whether the God-Devil Castle will accept you or not still needs to be discussed, the other white-robed elder with a bronze mask on his face said. Elder, please ask. If it's convenient for me, I will answer, Night Sorrow said. Let's not talk about your battle strength. Just based on the fact that you reached the Heaven Monarch realm before the age of 200, you will be treated well no matter which faction you join. Why did you choose the God-Devil Castle? You have to know that accepting a mission from the God-Devil Castle is a life-and-death struggle, Elder Nayland said. Because I don't want to be restrained. I don't want to do things according to the wishes of others. I'm willing to preserve my dignity and take risks. I'm willing to take risks, Night Sorrow said. This was what Night Sorrow wanted to say. Very good. In addition, I have another question. Where are you from? What family clan or sect are you from? Can you answer me? Elder Nayland asked again. I'm not from the celestial realm. Seniors, you can treat me as a native who has never seen the world. I just plan on using the platform of the God-Devil Castle to fight for a future, Night Sorrow answered. Alright, you can take the test. As long as you pass, you can become a member of the God-Devil Castle. Elder Nayland was rather satisfied with Night Sorrow's answer. Wait, I still want to know what requirements the God-Devil Castle has for me, Night Sorrow asked. This was a crucial question and what Night Sorrow cared about the most. I thought you already knew, so I didn't say anything. Now let's talk about it. First, you have to swear a heavenly oath. You can't reveal anything about the God-Devil Castle. Second, if you fail the mission, you have to leave the God-Devil Castle. In other words, the God-Devil Castle doesn't have any members who fail the mission, Elder Nayland said. There's no oath that you can't betray the God-Devil Castle or that you have to take action when the God-Devil Castle is in danger. Night Sorrow asked in surprise. It seems like you're telling the truth. You really came from somewhere else. The God-Devil Castle isn't afraid of betrayal because there's only one outcome for betrayers. In addition, the God-Devil Castle is in danger. If our God-Devil Castle is in danger, the people above can resolve it. We don't need ordinary members to take action, another elder said. I'm confident. Also, if there's a day when I don't want to stay in the God-Devil Castle, can I leave? Night Sorrow muttered before asking again. A member of your level can leave at any time. Of course, when you have the qualifications to raise your status, the corresponding rules will also be informed, Elder Nayland said. Okay, I accept the test. Night Sorrow stood up. He admired the style of the God-Devil Castle. It was domineering and didn't make things difficult for their members. Okay, follow us. The two elders stood up and walked towards the secret room in front. Night Sorrow followed behind them. It was a slanted passage that went deep underground. Underground castle. Night Sorrow discovered that he had entered an underground castle. This was the inside of the God-Devil Castle. Original? Original. Elder Nayland and another elder brought Night Sorrow to a large black iron door. The God-Devil Castle doesn't want trash. This is your test. If you pass, you'll be a member of the God-Devil Castle. If you fail, you'll die. Do you want to enter? The elder beside Elder Nayland, who didn't reveal his identity, said, Enter. Night Sorrow didn't hesitate at all. He was never afraid of any test. Young man, I'll explain the situation to you. There are 4 battle puppets inside. Fighting with them is a test for you, Elder Nayland said. Okay, open the door. Night Sorrow nodded. The black door rose halfway and Night Sorrow entered. Nayland, why didn't you say that the results of the test are related to status? The other elder looked at Elder Nayland and asked. Speak. First watch. Chapter 1534. Let's go watch first. After Elder Nayland finished speaking, he went to a room on the side of the black iron door. The walls were made of transparent crystals, allowing him to see everything about Night Sorrow. It's not very appropriate if you don't say anything. The old man with Elder Nayland said. He was another elder, Lung Lai. This little guy is very smart. If we tell him, he'll only want to pass. He won't try his best and hide his abilities. Elder Nayland said. A 170-year-old heavenly monarch. Even if his combat ability is a bit lacking, he still has potential. I wonder where he came from. Lung Lai reached out and touched the mask on his face. At that moment, after Night Sorrow entered the black iron door, he reached out and pulled out Splitter from his back. He then probed ahead. A small spatial world. Night Sorrow probed for a moment. Then, his face was filled with astonishment. The inside of a door was a space. This was too shocking. It also indirectly illustrated the strength of the God-fiend castle. While Night Sorrow was probing, 4 black metallic life forms flew over and surrounded Night Sorrow. After surrounding him, they attacked. The metallic life forms didn't show any mercy with their sabers. Night Sorrow charged forward and lashed out with Splitter. Then, he kicked out with his right foot and attacked the second puppet. With an explosive sound, the puppet in front of Night Sorrow was sent flying. The puppet that was kicked by Night Sorrow also couldn't help but retreat. Using the rebounding force, Night Sorrow pulled back and lashed out at the metallic life form behind him. With an explosive sound, the puppet was repelled. At that moment, Night Sorrow sped up. Splitter used Space Twisting Dragon Kill and attacked the puppet's forehead. The puppet quickly retreated. The other 3 rushed up and attacked Night Sorrow. Punching and kicking, he blocked the attacks of the 3 metallic life forms. Night Sorrow's right hand quickly attacked with Splitter, attacking the target puppet. After 2 consecutive attacks, the target puppet's energy was shaken into chaos. Night Sorrow used Speed 1. With the support of the space-time will, Night Sorrow's attacks seemed to pass through space and directly stab the target's forehead. After stabbing half a foot in, a green light appeared between the puppet's eyebrows, forcing Night Sorrow to retreat. While Night Sorrow was still in shock, the puppet withdrew from the battle. Clearly, it had been defeated. The remaining 3 were even easier for Night Sorrow to deal with. His left hand punched out, and his legs kicked out, blocking the attacks of 2 puppets. His right hand Samsara grabbed a target and violently attacked. Strength? You don't need to use your trump card. Just show your speed and strength and you'll pass, Lung Lai said. Nalan nodded as well. It was impossible to tell what Night Sorrow was capable of in this kind of battle. Night Sorrow was just blocking the interference and then grabbing a target to kill. There was no need for him to use any of his trump cards. After a while, the 4 puppets stopped moving. Night Sorrow turned his head and looked at the door behind him. Passing the test meant that he could leave. Nalan and Lung Lai looked at each other. The 2 left the viewing area and opened the test space's door. Seniors, did I pass? Night Sorrow's arm shook, and Space Breaker fell into the trap. He then asked, Yes, let's talk in the lounge, Nalan said. Night Sorrow nodded and followed him into a lounge in the underground castle. After Nalan brewed the tea, he told Night Sorrow that he had passed the God Devil Castle's inspection. As long as he didn't reveal the secrets of the God Devil Castle, he would be a member of the God Devil Castle. Night Sorrow got up and swore on the celestial realm's origin. Welcome, I'm Nalan. You can call me Elder Nalan. This is Elder Lung Lai. We're both elders of the Divine Devil Castle in Ethereal City. This is your token, and this is the communication crystal you use to accept missions. Nalan took out a golden crystal and a token. Wait, I didn't ask for your name, and you didn't tell me either. But a code name is necessary. What code name do you need? Lung Lai looked at Night Sorrow and said, Shang. Night Sorrow said one word. Lung Lai looked at Night Sorrow, then took the golden token and slid his finger on it. The word Shang appeared on it. Asterisk look at the original version, then Nalan introduced some more information. When Night Sorrow was needed to perform a mission, the crystal token would light up and Night Sorrow could come here. In addition, every time a mission was completed, there would be a reward point. Points could be exchanged for any resource. Any resource? Night Sorrow's eyes lit up. Of course. For example, the famous 9 Revolutions mysterious art? For example, Imperial weapons and armor. Of course, the 9 Revolutions mysterious art can't be exchanged for even with the points you've accumulated for billions of years, Lung Lai said. The resources aren't necessarily good. It's the right ones that are important, Night Sorrow said. Young man, you're right. Don't put the crystal token in the storage treasure. As long as it lights up, come here. This is the list of resources in the Divine Devil Castle. It also has the exchange requirements. Take it. Lung Lai glanced at Night Sorrow and threw a thick booklet to Night Sorrow. The missions aren't chosen by myself? Night Sorrow was stunned after receiving the booklet. No, it's distributed in the castle. The missions will be given to whoever is suitable, Nayland said. Understood. Night Sorrow cupped his hands. Okay, that's it, Nayland said. I want to take more missions that are suitable. In addition, I'll do everything I need to do. Please don't investigate me, Night Sorrow said after standing up. No, the Divine Devil Castle doesn't need it. If you leak the secret, the World Origin will take care of you. If you don't leak the secret, the Divine Devil Castle won't do anything to you. This is one of the characteristics of the Divine Devil Castle. Nayland nodded at Night Sorrow. Okay, I need a mission. After emphasizing the point again, Night Sorrow stood up. I'll inform you if there's a mission. In addition, the Divine Devil Castle will eliminate anyone who investigates the identity of our members. Opponents can kill members of the Divine Devil Castle, but they won't investigate or try to reveal the identity. That's suicide. However, you have to protect your identity. Lung Lai threw a mask to Night Sorrow. Thanks. I have my own mask. Night Sorrow took out his silver mask with flames on it of the young master of the Tianji Tower and waved his hand. Then he left the lounge. Today's mission had been successfully completed. After Night Sorrow put on the mask, he left the Divine Devil Castle and went to the inn to stay. His original body was now working hard to cultivate. His clone was responsible for resources and some communication with the outside world. Lung Lai, what do you think of this Shang? Nayland looked at Lung Lai and asked. He has a deep background. He's a Lord of Heaven who's less than 200 years old. Moreover, he's a Lord of Heaven with strength. We know the situation of those 4 puppets, Lung Lai said. Lung Lai said, the second update has arrived. It's a good day. I love you all. Thank you for always being with me. In addition, some people misunderstood what I said yesterday. I didn't say that the book was ending. It was just the beginning of the 3rd volume. Chapter 1535. Nayland nodded. What were those 4 puppets? They were the meritorious members of the God-Fiend Castle. After they died in battle, their souls were protected and nourished in the puppets. After reaching a certain level, their bodies could be reconstructed. Because of this, their battle awareness and skills were still there. The puppets' bodies were also strong. Besides, attacking the body would not be judged as a loss. So, Night Sorrow attacked the area where their souls were located. If it wasn't for the powerful soul protection array set up by the Imperial Preceptor of our God-Fiend Castle, the 4 of them would have been killed a second time, Nayland said. He defeated them with speed, strength, and body strength. To be precise, he killed them. His battle strength is indisputable, but we couldn't see anything, Lung Lai said. This is true strength. Heaven Monarch. His personality is not bad. He is outspoken, unlike the other people who came to apply. He is a straightforward person. He even told us his preferences. Elder Nayland's expression could not be seen, but there was joy in his words. That's good. In the future, missions below the Imperial realm will not be difficult for us, Lung Lai said. I see. How did he submit his materials? It's pitifully little, Elder Nayland took a sip of tea and said. According to what he wrote for us, 170 years old, Heaven Monarch. Our evaluation is that he passed the assessment in half a cup of tea. He is a Heaven Monarch with top-notch speed and strength. The rest is unknown. Lung Lai said. Nayland nodded. However, he planned to add a sentence on his personality and preferences. Night Sorrow returned to the inn. After thinking for a while, he felt that it was not a long-term solution to stay in the inn. There were small villas for sale. He could consider buying one. It would be convenient for him to cultivate and do things. Walking in the ethereal imperial city, Night Sorrow, who was dressed in a white robe, would look like a weak scholar if it was not for the long spear on his back. He had a strong aura of modesty and peace because it was related to the light of merit. When not in battle, people who were close to Night Sorrow would have such a feeling. They could let go of their inner frustrations. The ethereal imperial city was too big. Night Sorrow could not estimate how much land it occupied. Even 10 reincarnation cities could not compare to it. After countless years of development, it was normal for the ethereal imperial city to be unimaginably prosperous. After walking for 4 hours, Night Sorrow found a courtyard for sale on a small street. After asking around, Night Sorrow sighed and bought it for 70,000 Saint Spirit stones. The price was indeed high, but it was also fair. This was Misty City, and a single courtyard was already very rare. The original owner of this place had no choice but to sell it because he needed to gather enough Saint Spirit stones to refine pills. While they were chatting, Night Sorrow found out that the other party was going to concoct an earth-cleansing pill that could change one's physique. It was a pill that could remove impurities from one's body. Refining the earth-cleansing pill requires such a high price? Night Sorrow asked in bewilderment. Yes, I found the main ingredient, but the celestial alchemist asked for 50,000 Saint Spirit stones. I didn't have enough savings, so I had to sell this villa, the original owner of the villa said. Ha! It's fate that we met and I bought your villa. Give me the main ingredient and I'll help you refine it, Night Sorrow said with a smile. The Celestial Lord is an alchemist? The man with monarch cultivation looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. Yes, so don't worry. I'll compensate you if the pill is damaged. Night Sorrow nodded. He could understand the man's mentality. He was worried, and he just wanted to form a good relationship. Okay, thank you, Celestial Lord, the man called Yuan Zhao said. After getting the main ingredient of the earth-cleansing pill from Yuan Zhao, Night Sorrow helped to refine the supplementary ingredients. The supplementary ingredients weren't very valuable. Night Sorrow used 2 days to refine a cauldron of earth-cleansing pills. Come, take a look. Night Sorrow put the pills into a bottle and threw it to Yuan Zhao. After opening the bottle and taking a look, Yuan Zhao was a little emotional, and his words were a little stuttered. This is it, this is the pill. Okay, then keep it. Night Sorrow clapped his hands and put away the cauldron. Night Sorrow could use the 8-dragon cauldron to refine pills, but Night Sorrow didn't want to, because he saw the 8-dragon cauldron as a battle partner. Sir, you're saying that you're giving all of these to me? Yuan Zhao looked at Night Sorrow in disbelief, because he only wanted one pill. Yes, I'm giving all of them to you. After selling the rest, you can exchange them for some resources, Night Sorrow said. Thank you, Celestial Lord, I just want half. Yuan Zhao took out another pill bottle and divided the pills into 2 portions. Then, he pushed the storage ring with the Holy Spirit stones that Night Sorrow gave him and half of the pills to Night Sorrow. If you want half, then take half. Why are you taking this out? Keep it. Night Sorrow smiled and threw the storage ring with the Holy Spirit stones back to Yuan Zhao. He felt that Yuan Zhao was a good person with principles. But this isn't appropriate, Yuan Zhao said. There's nothing inappropriate about it. My family won't be coming. If you don't have a suitable place to stay, you can stay here, Night Sorrow said. Thank you, Celestial Lord, my friend and I have a small tavern. We can rest there, Yuan Zhao said. He wasn't used to living with Night Sorrow. Yuan Zhao took his belongings and left. Night Sorrow stayed. He felt that it wouldn't be difficult to find a servant when he had time. There was a slave market in the ethereal imperial city. Night Sorrow took the Holy Spirit stones and set up a formation in the courtyard that was less than 3 square miles. Then he went to the slave market and bought a pretty girl. After buying the slave, Night Sorrow knew what it meant to be cheap. In this world, human lives were worthless. A Saint King-level female slave only cost 5,000 Holy Spirit stones. After returning to the courtyard, Night Sorrow looked at the girl named Lu Yun. The room on the side of the gate is yours. I won't go there. You are responsible for the cleanliness of the courtyard. Don't worry about anything else. I don't have any requirements for you. Just do your own thing and cultivate. When the time is right, I will give you your freedom, Night Sorrow said. Thank you, Celestial Lord. Lu Yun cupped her hands, but her eyes secretly glanced at Night Sorrow. A servant's everything belonged to her master. Her soul was sealed, and her life and death were in the master's control. Although she was a servant, many people had a tacit understanding of what they wanted to do with a female slave. I first use it. After giving his instructions, Night Sorrow left the courtyard and went to the street. He wanted to see if he could buy some ancient books. Night Sorrow also wanted to know more about alchemy and artifact forging. Night Sorrow actually managed to buy alchemy and artifact forging manuals. Although they were common goods, Night Sorrow still studied them seriously and matched them with his own knowledge. Only then could he improve. Night Sorrow studied while waiting for the mission instructions from the God-Fiend Castle. Chapter 1536. There were countless resources on the Divine Devil Castle's exchange list. As long as one could think of it, it would be there. There was even the Golden Dragon's blood essence, which was a treasure that could strengthen one's blood, flesh, and bones. There was also a note stating that when the Great Guardian of the Divine Devil Castle and the Golden Dragon fought, both sides were injured. However, the Great Guardian of the Divine Devil Castle had also collected the Golden Dragon's blood essence. Powerful. Night Sorrow couldn't help but think of the word powerful. The Golden Dragon was the most powerful existence among the divine beasts. The fact that the Divine Devil Castle's people dared to fight was proof of their strength. Regardless of whether they won or lost, it was a fact that they had obtained the blood essence. In addition, Night Sorrow also felt that this record couldn't be fake. After all, high-level cultivators wouldn't bother to fabricate anything. They could accept the outcome of a battle. The Golden Dragon's blood essence could cure the evil dragon flame in Wu Lingfei's body, but Night Sorrow knew that he couldn't afford the price. There was a note on the back of the Golden Dragon's blood essence. The exchange point requirement was 6 million. Night Sorrow had never done a mission before, so he didn't know if it was easy to earn points. However, 6 million was definitely not easy. If it was easy, it wouldn't be here. Everyone knew that resources were only resources when they were used. Night Sorrow shook off his thoughts and began to study alchemy. He had a lot of materials. It could be said that other than monarch-grade materials, he had all kinds of grade 8 materials. After studying for a few days, Night Sorrow understood the mainstream elixirs used by cultivators in the celestial realm. The elixir that aided cultivation was the Junyuan elixir. The more powerful elixir was the Junhua elixir that could raise King's cultivation by 1 level. As the name implied, it could raise one's cultivation to a higher level. The elixir that aided soul cultivation was the spirit cultivating elixir. The most effective elixir was the heavenly spirit elixir. These were the 4 mainstream elixirs. Night Sorrow also looked at the elixirs and found that they could be used to refine the Junyuan elixir and the spirit cultivating elixir. Night Sorrow did not have the ingredients for the Junhua pill, but he had enough ingredients for 2 batches of the Heaven Spirit pill. Night Sorrow had the main ingredient, the spirit root grass. Night Sorrow planned to set up a stall and earn some resources. While waiting for the quest, there was a limit to what his avatar could do. With this idea in mind, Night Sorrow went to the night market and found someone to rent a place. It wasn't a big place, only about 30 square meters in total. There were stalls in the front and a place to rest and drink tea at the back. However, the rent was very expensive. It cost 2,000 Saint Spirit stones a day. Do it. Renting a house was expensive, but Night Sorrow still had to do it. Night Sorrow planned to continue honing his alchemy skills and raise his alchemy skills to the peak of rank 8. This way, when his cultivation reached the Emperor realm, he would be able to concoct the Monarch pill. With Lu Yun in tow, Night Sorrow rented the stall and wrote a plaque for Night Sorrow. Concocting any pill below the Emperor realm required 3 sets of ingredients and 1 set of finished product. Failure to do so would be double the price. Lu Yun, hang this up in front, Night Sorrow said. Wafa. Sir, is this appropriate? Sir, you wrote that any pill that meets a problem will lose money. Also, this kind of plaque will easily attract trouble, Lu Yun said. It's fine. Hang it up. You don't have to call me sir in the future. Be casual. My surname is Night. Just call me young master. Night Sorrow nodded at Lu Yun. He had no intention of taking back the plaque. This night market was very lively. There were many people selling pills. If you didn't have a good plaque, who would come looking for you? As for losing his job, Night Sorrow had his own considerations. What kind of world was this? Survival of the fittest. If one wanted to live a good life, they needed to be capable. If one had the ability, why would they have to look at others' faces and decide whether to use it? This wasn't Night Sorrow's philosophy. Life depended on one's ability. Seeing Night Sorrow's firm attitude, Lu Yun hung up the plaque. She was just a servant. She would do whatever Night Sorrow said. After the plaque was hung up, people immediately came to watch. Night Sorrow's plaque was very arrogant. It could concoct any pill. One had to know that other stall owners usually focused on one or two types of pills that they were good at. However, Night Sorrow was different. He wanted to concoct all of them. Furthermore, the cost of concocting pills was very low. There was even compensation for failure. Normally, when alchemists accepted a task, failure was failure. At most, they wouldn't earn anything. It was rare for alchemists to ask for compensation. Among the onlookers, there were 2 heaven monarchs. They were also in the pill business. At this moment, their expressions didn't look good. "Call your boss out," a heaven monarch with a goatee said. Lu Yun nodded. She was about to return to the back hall when Night Sorrow came out. "What's the matter?" Night Sorrow looked at the heaven monarch and asked. "I'm heaven monarch Lin Mu. Fellow Taoist, you're too arrogant. You can use methods to do business, but you can't mess up the situation," heaven monarch Lin Mu said. "Whether I'm arrogant or not, I'll use my strength to speak. When doing business, I naturally have to attract business. I can't mess up the situation. Don't tell me I'm not going to hang up my plaque and sit here and drink the northwest wind." Those who want to concoct pills, place your orders. Those who don't want to concoct pills, I won't accompany you. After saying Night Sorrow, he went back to the back. In fact, it was a relatively casual wooden pavilion with a screen in the middle. "Miss, that guy is very arrogant. I feel that he's trying to mess up the situation." 2 women were standing beside an antique stall and watching the quarrel. One of them said, "You can't say that. When doing business, there is naturally competition. If you don't attract business, you might as well go back and drink tea and sleep. However, the premise is that you have to have strength," the woman in a white dress with a long sword in her hand said. "Miss, don't you want to find someone to concoct the heaven spirit pill? Why don't you just find him?" The woman in red clothes with a humble attitude said, "Are you stupid? The materials for the heaven spirit pill are very rare. If he fails, can he afford it? Compensate with sacred spirit stones? Do I lack sacred spirit stones?" The woman called Miss said, "I can still afford the heaven spirit pill. Just tell me what you want." Night Sorrow walked out from the back hall. The 2 women's voices were not soft, so he naturally heard them. "Take the initiative to attract customers." The woman with the long sword came to Night Sorrow's stall. At this time, the onlookers retreated a little. Night Sorrow looked at the woman. He knew that this woman had a status. Otherwise, the others would not have retreated. The cultivation of a heaven monarch was not that big of a deterrent. "The long spear on your back is not bad. If you fail, give it to me," the woman in white said. "Very mean. You want to concoct the heaven spirit pill. If I fail, I will naturally pay you double the materials. Now, I don't need the materials. I will compensate you with the finished product. This is the heaven spirit pill. If Miss feels that it is not enough, this is the spirit replenishing pill. It is more valuable than your heaven spirit pill. This is the earth cleansing pill. If I fail, you can choose double the price." Night Sorrow took out a few types of pills. The pills were wrapped in energy and floated in front of him. Then he waved his hand and kept the pills. At this time, the woman in white looked at Night Sorrow with a serious expression. All the pills that Night Sorrow took out were rare and were worth no less than the heaven spirit pill. Chapter 1537. "Lu Yun, stay here and take care of things. I'll refine the pills first." Yi Shang took the storage ring and checked the contents of the storage ring without restrictions. He wanted to confirm if the materials were correct. "Where are you going? You won't run away with the materials, will you?" the maid beside the white-clothed woman shouted. Night Sorrow glanced at the maid and went into the back hall. He took out the alchemy furnace and began refining. Aura and temperament determine one's success. Some people have nobility in the depths of their souls that you will never understand. A screen couldn't stop others from inspecting, but Night Sorrow's refining technique was extremely fast. Even the people inspecting couldn't see how he was refining. The Heavenly Spirit pill was a high-grade Tier 8 pill. It was more troublesome to refine. Even though Night Sorrow had refined it before, it still took him nearly a day to finish. After taking a look, Night Sorrow was quite satisfied because the quality was good. After putting away the alchemy furnace, Night Sorrow divided the pills into 2 bottles and put away the extra materials. He then went to the front desk and placed the 6 bottles of Heavenly Spirit pills on the table. "You clearly refined 2 bottles," the white-clothed woman's maid said. "You don't have to say anything. 1 set of 6 medicinal pills, I'll give you 6. As for whether or not I can concoct 60 pills, that's my problem," said Yishang coldly to the maidservant. She was clearly going overboard. "Yen, don't say anything." The woman in white stopped the maidservant who was about to speak because there were 6 medicinal pills in 1 set. After stopping the maidservant, the woman in white opened the medicinal pill bottle and took out one of the pills. After looking at it, her eyes lit up. After looking at the pill, the white-clothed woman took out the materials again. "There are 6 sets of Heavenly Spirit pill materials here. I still need to refine 2 more sets." After putting away the materials, Night Sorrow returned to the back hall and brewed a pot of tea to relieve his emotions. Then he took out the alchemy furnace and continued refining. Originally, he needed to refine 2 batches of these pills, but the first batch of Night Sorrow had 3 pills in stock. In addition to the 9 pills from the new batch, he had a total of 12 pills. After filling 2 bottles of Night Sorrow, he handed the pills to the white-clothed woman. "The quality of the pills is not bad. In just 2 days, you've earned 7 sets of ingredients for the Heavenly Spirit pill," the woman in white said. "This is robbery." The maid of the woman in white said, "Miss, did you suffer a loss? What's the price for finding someone else to refine 3 sets of pills?" Night Sorrow asked. "You didn't lose out." The woman in white looked at Night Sorrow and nodded. There were some facts that couldn't be denied. "That's right. This is an open transaction. I'm not lying to anyone. I can live a good life because I have paid a price. You can only see the gains in front of you, but you don't see the price I paid. Do you still want to refine pills? If not, don't interfere with my business." Night Sorrow turned and walked to the back hall. He didn't like the attitude of these people. "My words were a bit rude. I'm sorry. I'll come find you tomorrow," the woman in white said to Night Sorrow's back. After pausing for a moment, Night Sorrow continued to the back hall and organized the ingredients for the Heavenly Spirit pill. The other stall owners also left. Although some were angry, they couldn't do anything to Night Sorrow. However, some people were also jealous. 7 sets of ingredients for the Heavenly Spirit pill were too expensive and rare. After returning to the back hall, Night Sorrow understood that the woman in white had a background. Ordinary people couldn't take out so many ingredients for the Heavenly Spirit pill, but he didn't want to have anything to do with them. The woman in white and her maid, Yen, walked some distance away and sat in a flying car. "Miss, is there a problem with the pills?" Yen asked. "No problem. The quality is very high. It's better than Heavenly Master Lin's. It's almost as good as Scorching Sun Emperor Masters," the woman in white said. "Is it really that good? I wonder where this guy popped out from?" Yen said with some astonishment. "Don't say things like that. You made him unhappy today. I even have a feeling that he won't take our business next time," the woman in white said. "He dares." Yen glared. "There's nothing he doesn't dare to do." The woman in white shook her head. The woman in white was the little princess of the Azure Water House, Jiangyu. She had a lot of power, but she knew that a lone cultivator like Night Sorrow wouldn't buy it. Yi Shang started to get busy. Everything was difficult at the beginning, but once the first step was taken, everything would be easy. Yi Shang quickly refined the Heavenly Spirit pill, proving his strength. Moreover, the fee he charged was reasonable. When other stall owners refined pills, they had to pay 2 sets of materials. These were the basic materials. There were other fees. If the refinement failed, they wouldn't take any responsibility. If the refinement was successful, they had to pay extra. The minimum cost was 30 to 20,000 Saint Spirit stones. The higher the cost, the more ridiculous it was. Just like Yuan Zhao, he had to go bankrupt just to refine pills. Night Sorrow's business was booming. The other stall owners were jealous. However, they couldn't do anything about it. Night Sorrow had the strength. Trouble? Night Sorrow was a heaven monarch. He wasn't afraid of fighting. If they started a fight, they would be the ones at a disadvantage. It could even be said that as long as Night Sorrow shouted, the patrol team would come and they would be in trouble. They also knew that the woman Night Sorrow was doing business with was this generation's manager, a member of the House of Azure Water. There was a symbol on the cuffs of her white dress. Night Sorrow was happy that business was good. He took orders and earned materials. This was the fastest way to accumulate resources. With the refinement of pills, Night Sorrow became famous in this area. His business was getting better and better. However, it took a long time to refine high-grade pills. He could only take one order a day. However, this order was worth tens of thousands of Saint Spirit stones. Supreme-grade pills were priceless. After Jiang Yu returned to the Azure Waterhouse, she entered the main hall. A middle-aged man was sitting in the hall. The middle-aged man had a stocky build. His eyes were bright. He was sitting on a big chair. He was one of the 7 house lords of the ethereal imperial city, Jiang Tianheng. Why did you come to see me? Didn't you run out? Jiang Tianheng smiled. I'm back. Father, I don't want to ask the Scorching Sun Emperor teacher to refine pills for me, Jiang Yu said. What's wrong? Are you complaining that I didn't help you find him? The Scorching Sun Emperor teacher is in seclusion. I didn't go, Jiang Tianheng stood up and said. No, I just don't think it's worth it to owe someone a favor just to refine pills of higher quality. Jiang Yu shook her head. Then let Heavenly Master Lin refine pills for you. He's not bad among the Heavenly Master alchemists, Jiang Tianheng said after pouring himself a cup of tea. It's not like that. Father, I met an alchemist who is very skilled in alchemy. Take a look at the Heavenly Spirit pill he refined. Jiang Yu went to his father's side and took out the bottle containing the Heavenly Spirit pill. Jiang Tianheng opened the bottle and took out one pill to study. Not bad. The color and the purity of the energy are very good. Where did you find this alchemist? Chapter 1538. You still have a childish temper. Just tell me where you found him. I will return the favor. Jiang Tianheng said. He thought his daughter was angry. Father, I really met him on the side of the road. He set up a stall on Treasure-Seeking Street. Because his signboard was very arrogant, there was some friction with others. I tried to ask him to refine it, and the result did not disappoint. Jiang Yu said with a smile. She was also very happy. There is such a thing. There are materials in the warehouse. You can go and get them. Just ask him. But the price should not be low. It's okay. I will help you pay whatever you need. Jiang Tianheng said. That bastard's price is 3 sets of materials and 1 set of elixir. But he made a lot of money. I gave him 9 sets of materials. He used 2 sets to refine 3 sets of elixir, which means he earned 7 sets of materials. According to his ability, 7 sets of materials can refine more than 10 sets of elixir. He made a lot of money. Jiang Yu said. That's his ability. From our point of view, 3 sets of materials and 1 set of elixir is not excessive. Jiang Tianheng said. Well, so if we can ask him to refine elixir, we don't need to ask Scorching Sun Emperor Tutor and owe him a favor. Jiang Yu said what she meant. Jiang Tianheng nodded. He didn't want to owe anyone a favor. Night Sorrow received orders to refine elixir every day and earned a lot of materials. People were afraid of being famous. As long as you had the strength, you would naturally be recognized by more people. Night Sorrow originally wanted to call Datura, who had nothing to do. But he felt that there might be people looking for trouble. It was still very dangerous, so he gave up. A month later, Night Sorrow refined all the mainstream elixirs in the celestial realm. While improving his proficiency in refining elixir, he accumulated a lot of materials. Facts spoke louder than words. Night Sorrow used his ability to refine elixir to shut the other stall owners up. No one looked for trouble. Night Sorrow refined special elixir. If they couldn't refine it, they would ask for help. Night Sorrow would not refuse people with a humble attitude. He was not stingy with his answers. That night Sorrow had just finished refining a furnace of pills when Jiang Yu arrived. "I want to concoct the Heavenly Spirit pill and the Junhua pill," Jiang Yu said. "Sorry, I'm a little tired. I won't be taking orders today," Night Sorrow said. "You're doing business. Isn't it good to have business?" Jiang Yu was surprised to hear Night Sorrow's rejection, even though he was mentally prepared. "From what you said the other day, I can tell that you think I'm unscrupulous. If 3 sets of ingredients for 1 set of pills is considered unscrupulous, then I'd rather not do business. I might as well refine pills for others for free." Night Sorrow put away the alchemy furnace, planning to pack up and go home. "I'll come over tomorrow." Jiang Yu smiled and stopped a Yen who was about to speak. She knew that if a Yen said something unpleasant, Night Sorrow would really not accept her business. After returning to the courtyard, Night Sorrow wrote a new signboard. Buying rank 9 cultivation techniques, rank 9 pill recipes, rank 9 weapon refining techniques, and rank 9 array diagrams. Those who use the above resources will have priority. Night Sorrow did not know if he would be able to buy anything good. He did not need to use ordinary things, but he could use them for reference. However, others could study them. The next day, Night Sorrow went to his stall and hung up the new signboard. Many people were stunned when they saw the signboard. Night Sorrow was asking for an inheritance. Jiang Yu came and was also surprised when she saw the signboard. She pondered for a while and said, "I have a rank 9 weapon refining technique. It's an inheritance for refining monarch weapons. What price can you pay?" "What price do you want?" Night Sorrow asked. "Help me refine 50 sets of pills for free," Jiang Yu said. "It's not impossible. I want to see if your weapon refining technique inheritance is high enough. If it's possible, then we'll make a deal. If it's not, then I won't study your alchemy inheritance." "Don't worry, a gentleman keeps his promise," Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. "Okay." Jiang Yu took out a jade slip and handed it to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow knew that the jade slip recorded some inheritance information. It was much more advanced than ancient books and handbooks. Using his soul power, he received a lot of information. After studying it, Night Sorrow nodded and said, "If there are no special circumstances, I'll refine a set of pills for you every 3 days. The deal will be over in 5 months. "Why 1 set of pills every 3 days?" Jiang Yu frowned and said, "Because I want to do business. I can't stop doing business just because you're a customer." Yi Shang told Jiang Yu the details of the trade, and then added another piece of information that made Jiang Yu's jaw drop. To refine weapons and armors below monarch level, prepare 3 sets of materials or resources of the same price. "You're also a weapon refining master?" Jiang Yu was shocked. It was difficult for a cultivator to be successful in one direction. Night Sorrow had proven his alchemy ability and now he was playing with weapon refining. "Give me the materials. I'll start refining it for you now," Yishan said. "Here are the materials for 10 sets of Junhua pills." Jiang Yu took out a storage ring. "You still need Junhua pills?" Night Sorrow looked at Jiang Yu in surprise. Jiang Yu was also a heaven monarch. It was normal for her to use heaven spirit pills. However, Junhua pills were useless. "I'll give them to my guards," Jiang Yu said. "I won't calculate the failure rate for you. Here are 5 sets of Junhua pills. Don't come to me for half a month. After half a month, come back and get the remaining 5 sets." Night Sorrow sorted out the Junhua pills that he had refined over the past few days and gave them to Jiang Yu. This was the feeling that Night Sorrow gave Jiang Yu. Night Sorrow didn't give her any face at all. "Princess Yu, are you here to refine pills too?" At this moment, a man and a woman appeared in front of Night Sorrow's stall on Treasure Seeking Street. "What are you two doing in my House of Azure Waters territory?" Jiang Yu squinted at them. "I heard that a top-notch weapon refining master appeared on Treasure Seeking Street, so I came to take a look," the woman said. "Gong Xian Yu, Are you here to poach him? Jiang Yu's eyes were filled with vigilance. Princess Yu is smart. However, your words are too harsh. I'm not here to poach him. I'm Gong Xian of Guanyue Mansion. I'd like to invite Weapon Refining Master to Guanyue Mansion as a guest. Gong Xian Yu cupped his hands at Night Sorrow. 5 starters. Night Sorrow Yu cupped his hands in return. Thank you for your attention. However, I'm fine with my current situation. If you have any requests for refining pills or weapons, I'm willing to help. Weapon Refining Master Yi is too polite. A talent like you should be respected, Gong Xianyu said with a smile. Gong Xianyu, that's enough. Your Majesty is discussing business with Weapon Refining Master Yi. Why are you causing trouble? Do you think this is a place for you to be arrogant? Jiang Yu waved her arm and shot a beam of energy into the sky. Then, there was the sound of something breaking through the air. 2 groups of people quickly arrived. Chapter 1539. There's no need for that. My stall is right here. If you need anything, you can come at any time. I'll do my best to fulfill it, Night Sorrow said. He could see that both sides were in an awkward situation. Gong Xianmoon didn't expect Jiang Yu to directly call for a fight. If they fought, she would be at a disadvantage and lose face. From Jiang Yu's point of view, if Gong Xianmoon brought this matter to the City Lord's mansion, it would be tantamount to causing trouble for her father. This place is not bad. You're here. Jiang Yu will protect you. Whoever dares to cause trouble for you can try. Jiang Yu glanced at Gong Xianmoon and said, Miss, please calm down. You should know that I have my own way of life. Please understand. If you don't mind, please come in and have some tea. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Jiang Yu and Gong Xianmoon. After glancing at Gong Xianmoon, Jiang Yu waved her arm at Yen and the other patrol members before entering the back hall. Miss Gong, please come in as well. Night Sorrow nodded at Gong Xianmoon. After entering the back hall, Night Sorrow invited the two to sit down and then brewed a pot of tea. It's not a big deal. Sit down and have a cup of tea calmly. Celestial Master Knight, with your alchemy skills, you don't need to live in the marketplace, do you? Gong Xianmoon looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Everyone's choice is different. I like to live an unrestrained life. If I join a sect or a force, don't I need to be considerate? I still have my scruples, so I won't consider it. Night Sorrow Moon said with a smile. His words were once again rejected. I'll look for you after I finish refining my elixirs. Also, help me refine 10 elixirs and I'll give you a shop. Jiang Yu said. She had met many people and understood that Night Sorrow Moon was a rare talent with such attainments in alchemy at such a young age. She didn't want him to be taken away by Gong Xianmoon. Since everyone has calmly sat down to talk, this can be considered as giving me face. In the future, if the 2 young ladies have any medicinal pills that you need to refine, this one will consider it first. Night Sorrow poured 2 cups of tea for the 2 of them. After drinking tea, Jiang Yu and Gong Xianyue left. There was no more conflict. Yi Shang had given them a way out of this situation. At this moment, Lin Mu came over. He had interacted with Night Sorrow for the past few days, and their initial conflict had been resolved. They could be considered friends. After all, the beginning of the conflict was not wrong from the perspective of both sides. Brother Lin Mu is here. Come and have a cup of tea, it's not bad. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Lin Mu and greeted him. Celestial Master Yi, those 2 women are very powerful. Be careful when you interact with them. Otherwise, you will be in big trouble, Celestial Master Lin Mu said. Then Celestial Master Lin Mu told Night Sorrow about Jiang Yu and Gong Xianyu's background. The Misty Imperial Dynasty was very powerful and had a vast territory. The person with the highest authority was the Misty Battle Emperor, followed by the elders in the city, and then the Misty 7 prefectures. The Misty 7 prefectures ruled the territory of the Misty Imperial Dynasty and were divided into 7 regions. They were the rulers of the 7 regions. Similarly, within the Misty Imperial City, the Misty Battle Emperor had also given them a region to manage. The Azure Water Prefecture and Guanyue Prefecture were 2 of the prefectures. The two of them can mention the Azure Water Prefecture and Guanyue Prefecture the moment they open their mouths. I presume that their status and position in their respective forces is not low, Night Sorrow said. Definitely. The Azure Water Prefecture Lord's surname is Jiang, and the woman who came a while ago is called Jiangyu. The Guanyue Prefecture Lord's surname is Gong, and the woman who came later is called Gong Xianyu. Based on their surnames, they should be core members, Celestial Master Lin Mu said. It seems like it won't be easy to eat a peaceful meal. Many thanks for Brother Lin Mu's reminder. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Celestial Master Lin Mu. Celestial Master Lin Mu stayed for a while before leaving. Night Sorrow had given him pointers on alchemy, and he was very grateful in his heart. Being able to give Night Sorrow a few pointers, he felt that he had done his part. Young Master, why don't we pack up and run away? With Young Master's alchemy skills, you can do well anywhere. Lu Yun was a little worried. Don't be afraid. Let's do what we need to do. You still need to practice brewing tea. Only with a steady heart can you brew tea that has an artistic conception and flavor. Night Sorrow looked at Lu Yun and said, after packing up, there was nothing to do today, so Night Sorrow planned to go back and rest. In this regard, Night Sorrow was different from the other vendors on Treasure Seeking Street. The King and Celestial Master Lin Mu didn't need to rest at all. They had been setting up their stalls for a long time. Lu Yun had also asked about this, and Night Sorrow had his own opinion. Working at sunrise and resting at sunset was the law of nature. This kind of life helped to cultivate one's heart and relieve the pressure of daily life. Lu Yun was very glad that Night Sorrow was very easygoing. If she had any questions, Night Sorrow would answer them, giving her enough respect. In the past, when she was in the slave market, she didn't even dare to think about it. After returning to the courtyard, Night Sorrow pondered for a moment. He felt that he could first complete Jiang Yu's alchemy list so that he could hand it over at any time. The Clear Sky God Pagoda wasn't by his side, but Night Sorrow still had a time acceleration magic treasure. It was the 5 times spatial magic treasure that he had bought for Sky City. After entering the spatial magic treasure, Night Sorrow began to speed up the refining process. One night passed. Night Sorrow had refined for 2.5 days in the time acceleration magic treasure. He had refined 3 batches and was only a bit away from 5 batches. However, it didn't matter. He just had to work overtime once more. After Night Sorrow and Lu Yun arrived at the stall, they continued to take orders. This time, they took orders for both alchemy and blacksmithing. Night Sorrow improved his blacksmithing skills according to the blacksmithing inheritance that Jiang Yu had given him. Night Sorrow took an average of 1 day to refine the monarch weapon, and the customers were satisfied. Night Sorrow's business was very good. Many people looked for Night Sorrow for blacksmithing and alchemy, but Night Sorrow was too busy. He only took 1 or 2 orders a day. Sometimes, Heavenly Lord Lin Mu would come to help. He could refine high-level elixirs, but he was helpless because people didn't want Heavenly Lord Lin Mu to refine them. Therefore, Heavenly Lord Lin Mu could only be an assistant. This bastard made a lot of money, but he didn't do anything to us, Yen said. He won't lose his credibility. Let's wait and see. This guy is really good, Jiang Yu said after taking a sip of wine. She and Yen were sitting in the restaurant opposite Night Sorrow's stall. At this time, in a mansion in the moon-gazing prefecture area, a man handed a long sword to Gong Xianyu. Gong Xianyu looked at it and handed it to an old man beside him. Then I'll take a look first. The old man took the long sword and began to examine it carefully. After a while, the old man held the long sword with both hands and handed it to Gong Xianyu. The method used to refine this long sword is very special. It has time and space arrays, but it's different from our usual refining methods. I've never seen it before, but I'm sure that this long sword will increase speed and affect space and time. The person in charge said that it's a rare supreme-grade item. A supreme-grade elixir and a supreme-grade monarch weapon. We still have to fight for this person. Someone, find out where he came from, Gong Xianyu said. Chapter 1540. On this day, Night Sorrow was refining when his sleeves started to vibrate. Night Sorrow looked down and knew that it was the God Devil Castle's token that was vibrating. He quickly shaped the battle saber in his hand and stopped the refinement. Brother, I have urgent matters to attend to, so I will stop the refinement of this battle saber for now. Here are 50,000 Saint Spirit stones. I will give it to you as a guarantee. Once I return, I will work on it immediately. Night Sorrow took out a storage ring and handed it to the waiting customer. No need. I believe in Celestial Master Knight. I will just wait here. The man refused because Night Sorrow's reputation was very good now. No, there needs to be rules and regulations. Take it. Lu Yun, you keep an eye on this place. When I'm not here, don't take orders. After saying that, Night Sorrow left the stall with a few flashes. This made Jiang Yu, who was drinking in the restaurant opposite, very surprised. During this period, Night Sorrow had been very stable and lived a life of 2 jobs. But now, he seemed to be in a hurry. Not only Jiang Yu, but Gong Xianmoon also came back with a guard. It was the same guard from last time. When she saw Night Sorrow's back view, she was also very surprised. Follow him. Gong Xianmoon whispered to the man beside her. Yes, Prince. Don't worry. The white-robed man nodded and left in a different direction. Gong Xianmoon was very confident in her subordinate. He was the #1 Heaven Monarch in Guanyue Prefecture. He had countless combat skills that could kill Heaven Monarchs and was called Ghost Monkey. Chapter 6, Part 2. Night Sorrow increased his speed and shuttled back and forth on the streets. At the same time, he increased the detection of his soul spirit power. He was worried that someone was following him. When he was some distance away from the God Devil Castle, Night Sorrow discovered Ghost Monkey. Frowning, Night Sorrow's body arced as he turned around and flew towards the Ghost Monkey. Ghost Monkey was stunned for a moment but didn't dodge. He knew that Night Sorrow had discovered him and there was no point in dodging. I know you're from Guanyue Manor. Tell your young miss not to investigate me. It's meaningless. Night Sorrow glanced at Ghost Monkey and left in a flash. The Ghost Monkey did not continue to follow him. Since he had already been discovered, there was no point in continuing to pester him. After checking again and confirming that no one was following him, Night Sorrow entered the God Fiend Castle. As soon as Night Sorrow entered the castle, Elder Nalen appeared and brought Night Sorrow into the castle. Elder, what's the mission? After sitting down, Night Sorrow asked. Assassination mission, kill a person. Elder Nalen said after opening the door. Assassination mission? I didn't think that the first assassination mission would be this kind of assassination mission. Is the other party's character bad? Night Sorrow asked. The God Fiend Castle's mission was not compulsory. One could accept or reject it. However, after rejecting it 3 times, one's name would be removed because the God Fiend Castle would think that one was unsuitable to develop in the God Fiend Castle. Yes, but you're overthinking it. So what if his character is not bad? If others want to kill him, then there's a reason to kill him. It's because he had a problem with his character that caused him to be killed. We're just the executors. Lung Lai said after appearing. If his character is not good, then I'll accept it. Mission objective and details. Night Sorrow said. Luo Fei, the young prefecture lord of the Umbra Prefecture, which is one of the 7 prefectures in Ethereal City. He has already left Ethereal City and is heading to Devil Shadow City. He is a Heaven Monarch himself and has 2 Heaven Monarch bodyguards. The duration of the mission is 3 days. Elder Nalen handed a crystal ball and a mission list to Yichang. Okay, I'll leave right away. Night Sorrow took the crystal ball and mission list and stood up. Leave your identity token and communication token behind. During the mission, you will have nothing to do with the God Fiend Castle. If you fail, then it's your own problem. Don't think that the God Fiend Castle will do anything for you. You know the consequences of leaking information. Lung Lai looked at Night Sorrow and said, I understand. Night Sorrow left his gold token and crystal token behind and left the God Fiend Castle. At the teleportation array, Night Sorrow began to teleport to Devil Shadow City. Night Sorrow was still a little nervous since it was his first mission. He had to succeed. If he failed, then he would have to leave the God Fiend Castle. Then, the high-level resources of the God-Fiend Castle would have nothing to do with him. After arriving at Devil Shadow City, Night Sorrow hurried towards the City Lord Manor. He knew that as the young Lord of Shadow Manor, he was one of the highest echelons of Shadow Manor. Once he arrived, there would definitely be subordinates to receive him. Walking in the city, Night Sorrow investigated the situation. If he wanted to kill someone, then he would have to consider whether or not there were any Great Emperor Realm cultivators around. If there were, then he would have to wait and assassinate someone in front of a Great Emperor Realm cultivator. Not to mention, the mission was very difficult to complete. Devil Shadow City and Green Shadow City were about the same size. Night Sorrow approached the City Lord Manor and didn't find any Great Emperor Realm cultivators. However, he did find Luo Fei. Luo Fei's image and aura were in the crystal ball. Night Sorrow easily identified him. To ensure his safety, Night Sorrow carefully searched the City Lord Manor. After confirming that there were no Great Emperor Realm cultivators around, he decided to make his move. Without the interference of Great Emperor Realm cultivators, Night Sorrow wasn't afraid of any battle. In a secluded corner, Night Sorrow put on his mask and waved his arm. The Space Splitter Spear used the Void Extreme Point kill, piercing a small hole in space. It was only the size of a finger. Night Sorrow's body flashed and entered the 8-Dragon Cauldron. Before the hole closed, he entered the Space Turbulence. The Space Turbulence was very strong. It was almost the same level as the Star Field Turbulence Night Sorrow encountered in the Kuan lower world. Those below the Great Emperor Realm would find it hard to survive. Night Sorrow used the 8-Dragon Cauldron to protect himself and used the Virtuous Immortal Body. Then, he used the space-time will to move closer to the City Lord Manor. He only had 3 days, and 3 days was nothing to high-level cultivators. Therefore, Night Sorrow had to seize the opportunity. He didn't have time to wait and wait. He had to seize the opportunity to kill in one strike. Traversing through the space turbulence, Night Sorrow arrived at the City Lord Manor. At this moment, there was a row of people kneeling in the manor. Each of them had a knife on their neck. The Black Iron Mine is in the Shadow Manor's area. It belongs to the Shadow Manor. Luo Fei said with a dark expression. But that's our Iron Sword Sex Mountain. It's been like this for countless years. An elder said. So much nonsense. Do you have the right to talk nonsense? Just one sentence. Move and scram. You can live. Otherwise, die. Luo Fei stood up and said, Ha, there's no point in living. But I, Tai Tang, say one sentence. You, Luo Fei, will definitely be unlucky. An elder who was pressed down said, Could this assassination mission be related to the Iron Sword sect? Night Sorrow had a guess. However, it had nothing to do with his assassination. Chapter 1541. This wasn't a spar. Night Sorrow wanted to kill, so he didn't test the waters. At the same time as the Emperor Samsara slash was executed, Night Sorrow's spatial split slashed in another direction, preventing the other 2 heaven monarchs from coming to help. He then executed the soul extinguishing slash at Luo Fei. When the spatial zone shook, Luo Fei sensed it. However, when he drew his sword and was about to fight, the halo produced by the Emperor Samsara slash enveloped him. The crescent blade of the soul extinguishing slash was also spinning and slashing at his divine sea. Affected by the Emperor Samsara slash's effect on the soul spirit and space-time, Luo Fei maintained his sword-drawing posture. However, his divine sea emitted a green light. As the young prefecture lord of the Umbra Prefecture, how could he not have a soul spirit defense treasure? When the crescent blade of the soul extinguishing slash was spinning, Night Sorrow approached Luo Fei. He brandished the space-splitting spear and executed the Void Extreme Kill. At this moment, the 2 heaven monarchs broke through the seal of Night Sorrow's spatial split and charged at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's body shook and executed the afterimage body. A few figures flashed and pounced at the 2 heaven monarchs. The afterimage body didn't have any attacking ability, but the energy it contained was real. Therefore, the 2 heaven monarchs brandished their swords and fought. This was the effect that Night Sorrow wanted. He wanted to seize the opportunity for his clones to continue killing Luo Fei. As the space-splitting spear neared Luo Fei's body, the tip of the spear burst out with an intense purple halo. It directly entered Luo Fei's Dantian and exploded, annihilating Luo Fei's Dantian region. At this moment, Luo Fei was awake, but it couldn't solve the problem because there was no more energy in his body. Night Sorrow brandished the space-splitting spear again and chopped Luo Fei's head into two halves. He then took the opportunity to collect the green jade ring, the storage ring, and the weapon that fell from Luo Fei's divine sea. He then flew out of the city lord residence. Everything happened in an instant. It was too fast. Apart from the two Heaven Monarch Realm guards in the city lord residence, the others didn't see what happened. Seeing Lu Fei's broken body fall to the ground, no matter how confused they were, they finally understood what had happened. They then chased after Night Sorrow. None of them looked at the cultivators from Iron Sword Sect. "Who are you?" The Heaven Monarch who was chasing after him shouted. "Shang." Night Sorrow spat out a word. After leaving the City Lord's mansion, Night Sorrow once again stabbed out with his space-splitting spear. It was still the nothingness extreme kill. He pierced through space and entered the Eight-Dragon Cauldron. Then he disappeared from the sight of his pursuers through the hole. Flying in the spatial turbulence was very stressful. Others could not chase after him because it was very difficult to break through spatial barriers, and it was also very difficult to survive in the spatial turbulence. After entering the spatial turbulence, Night Sorrow knew that he was safe. After exiting the city through the spatial turbulence, Night Sorrow changed his attire and returned to the chaotic city. He then left through the teleportation array. After returning to the ethereal Imperial City, Night Sorrow went to the God Fiend Castle. When Night Sorrow arrived, Elder Nalen, who was wearing a mask, brought Night Sorrow, who was also wearing a mask, into the underground castle. "I killed the target's body in Devil Shadow City, but I'm not sure if it's the real body or a clone. I don't know how this mission is calculated," Night Sorrow said after entering Elder Nalen's reception room. "That's the real body. This information is accurate. Even if it's not the real body, it's still a problem with the information. It has nothing to do with your mission," Elder Nalen said. "That's good. The target's head was destroyed by me. The only evidence is his weapon and storage ring." Night Sorrow said. He took out Lu Fei's storage ring and weapon, but he had no intention of handing them over. They were his spoils of war. "The information has been sent back. Your mission is complete. It took you less than half a day to complete this difficult mission. Not bad. This mission is worth 2,000 points. Elder Nalen gave Night Sorrow's identity token and communication crystal token to Night Sorrow. "Good. If there's a suitable mission, please inform me," Night Sorrow said after standing up. "Wait a moment. Your mask isn't made well enough. I'll make it for you. No matter who it is, they won't be able to see your face under the mask," Lung Lai said. "I've already made it. I don't dare to trouble you, Elder." Night Sorrow said. When he decided to use this mask last time, he took some time to make it and engraved an array that could block out detection. It can block monarchs and heavenly monarchs, but can it block emperors? "Give it to me." Lung Lai stretched out his arm to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took off his mask and smiled awkwardly. He then gave the mask to Lung Lai. "With the mask, you have a deterrent force. Without the mask, you're still handsome." "Very good," Elder Nalen said with a smile. He was very happy that Night Sorrow completed the mission quickly. This was Night Sorrow's first mission and also a test. Lung Lai took the mask and left. Nalen took off his mask. Under the mask was a thin but dignified face. Night Sorrow took out a tea set and made a pot of heart-cleansing tea. He chatted casually with Elder Nalen. The way of tea can reflect a person's state of mind. Your state of mind is very calm and not impetuous at all. Cultivation is external, cultivation is internal, Elder Nalen said after taking a sip of tea. "Elder, you flatter me," Night Sorrow said. "Ha, I've lived for a long time. I've seen all kinds of things and people. If you ask whether the target's moral character is bad, I can understand your persistence. Why is it like this? The world is not the ancient times. Strength is the reason. You should understand this," Elder Nalen said. Night Sorrow hesitated. He didn't know how to express his thoughts. There were some words that he didn't know how to say. If you have any thoughts, just say it. I'm also bound by the oath. I won't divulge the information of the members. In addition, I feel that you should have the right thoughts and the right path to development. Taking the wrong path will only delay you, Elder Nayland said to Night Sorrow. Thank you, Elder. Actually, it's like this. After I started cultivating, I didn't do anything that went against my heart. Following this path, I was lucky enough to obtain a body of merit. Now, I've made some small achievements, said Yishan. Body of merit? Is there a light of merit? Release it for me to see, Elder Nayland said curiously. Night Sorrow stood up and activated the immortal body of merit. He believed in Elder Nayland and the rules of the god Devil Castle. This is a small achievement? It's the great sage of merit, right? Seeing Night Sorrow's body emitting a strong light of merit, Elder Nayland stood up with a somewhat excited expression. Y most be new/v previous chapter? Yes, I don't dare to hide it from Elder. It's like this. Therefore, I still have some concerns about accepting missions, Night Sorrow said. At this moment, Lung Lai, who was holding Night Sorrow's mask, also appeared in the lounge. At the same time, he was stunned. Sit down and talk. Let's sit down and talk. Elder Nayland waved his hand at Night Sorrow. Although I want mission points, I still feel that a man should know what to do and what not to do. Please understand, elders. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Elder Nayland and Lung Lai. Chapter 1542. That's a good thing. You can tell us about your concerns. Cultivators have to respect the heavenly Tao. We will only support you and not destroy you, Elder Nayland said after looking at Lung Lai for a while. Thank you for your understanding, Elder. I'm not afraid of the mission being difficult as long as it doesn't go against my conscience. Night Sorrow nodded. Don't worry about that. When we choose the mission, we will consider your situation. In fact, all the cultivators in this world have fought their way through the law of the jungle. Who doesn't have their hands stained with blood? If you have to kill someone, just kill them. Besides, no matter who is given the mission, this is karma. Lung Lai handed Night Sorrow's mask to Night Sorrow. Thank you, Elder. I'm also a blacksmith. Elder, you're too fast. Night Sorrow took the mask and said, Don't you know there's a time acceleration treasure? Lung Lai glanced at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow didn't know what to say after being rebutted by Lung Lai. Sway YXN, Chapter B, Section V, I. Elder Ling has a temper. Don't mind him. You can go back. We'll inform you if there's a suitable mission. Elder Nayland nodded at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow stood up and left a bag of tea for the two elders before leaving. After returning to the stall, Night Sorrow greeted Heavenly Lord Lin Mu and smiled at the waiting customer. Then he continued to refine weapons. No one knew that Night Sorrow had killed the young master of one of the 7 prefectures of the Ethereal Empire in less than half a day. At this moment, Elder Nayland and Lung Lai were drinking tea in the Divine Devil Castle. How do you feel? Elder Nayland asked. He's a treasure, Lung Lai said. It's rare to have a body of merit. It's even more amazing to be able to cultivate to the level of Merit Supreme Saint. This can't be achieved in the celestial realm. He should be from some realm. In his own words, he's a native. But what's wrong with being a native? He doesn't want to join other forces. He doesn't want to submit to others. This is the nobility deep in his soul, Nayland said. He was a little emotional. Report it. The deluxe Merit Grand Sage was indeed impressive, and he had executed his mission perfectly. The young prefecture lord of the Dark Shadow Prefecture is a powerful heaven monarch and even had a heaven monarch bodyguard with him. However, Shang was able to kill him with a single strike and even retreat safely. This is his strength. Leng Yu might not have much to say, but he admired Night Sorrow very much. Within the Dark Shadow Palace of the Dark Shadow Residence, a black-robed man sat in the main seat. His face was gloomy, and beside him stood a pale-faced man. Night Sorrow recognized this man. It was Luo Fei, who he had killed. At this time, a man was brought into the main hall. Divine, who did this? I will capture him and make him suffer a fate worse than death, the man sitting on the main seat said coldly. After entering the hall, the man took out a futon and sat down. Then, he began divining what had happened since Night Sorrow's appearance at the City Lord's mansion. Everything about Night Sorrow's return to Ethereal City was also clear. However, the image began to blur and then collapsed. The man who had done the divination spat out a mouthful of blood. "You may leave." The black-robed man sitting on the main seat waved his hand and said, "Prefecture Lord, that assassin went to the Divine Devil Castle?" The man who had brought the diviner in asked in surprise. "That's right. Only the Divine Devil Castle's great array disrupting array can prevent divination and have such power. Stop investigating. Since it's a mission from the Divine Devil Castle, go and investigate the person who did it." The black-robed man stood up and gave the order. He was the Dark Shadow Prefecture Lord, Luo Yuandao. He was a powerful figure in the Ethereal Dynasty, but he did not have the right to provoke the Divine Devil Castle. Some things could not be hidden from others. The young Prefecture Lord of the Dark Shadow Prefecture and 2 Heaven Monarch bodyguards were killed by Shang in the Dark Shadow City, and the news of Shang escaping unscathed spread. Then, there was news that Shang was a member of the Divine Devil Castle, but his identity was unknown. It wasn't a big deal to know that he was a member of the Divine Devil Castle, but no one dared to try to uncover Shang's identity, and there was no way to investigate. No matter who was investigating, even if it was divination, everything was cut off when it came to the Divine Devil Castle. Everyone wanted to know more about Shang because the Divine Devil Castle had a rule. No matter what the mission was, they would never send someone with a high cultivation level to carry out the mission. They would only send someone of the same cultivation level. The Divine Devil Castle did not bother to bully others, and this showed that Shang was very powerful. Night Sorrow was still doing his alchemy and artifact refining business. Then, he was lucky enough to obtain a spatial artifact refining secret technique. During his rest time, Night Sorrow refined a spatial artifact that could speed up 10 times, but it also consumed a lot of Night Sorrow's materials. Yi Shang had not refined it directly, but had modified the 8-dragon cauldron, which was even more difficult. However, if he succeeded, it would be of great help to Yi Shang. He would be able to speed up the refinement process. Jiang Yu still brought a yen to Night Sorrow's stall every day to drink and watch Night Sorrow refine pills and weapons. Night Sorrow's business was very good. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. Jiang Yu brought a yen to Night Sorrow's stall. "Our young lady is here. Can't you receive her?" A yen looked at Night Sorrow, who was handing over weapons to customers, and said, "Young lady Jiang, next time you come, can you not bring her? Or don't let her talk. My good mood is gone." Night Sorrow looked at Jiang Yu and said, Night Sorrow did not hate loyal servants who protected their master, but he hated evil servants who bit people for no reason. "Did you hear that?" Jiang Yu looked at A Yen. She could feel that Night Sorrow had a very bad impression of A Yen, and it affected her as well. "Here are 5 portions of Junhua pills for you." Night Sorrow took out a few bottles of pills and put them on the table in front of him. He had already refined them. "Very good. Aren't you going to invite me in for a cup of tea?" Jiang Yu asked with a smile. "Sure." Night Sorrow nodded. "Go back. Don't come here again. You also need to reflect," Jiang Yu said to A Yen. A Yen nodded and left. Jiang Yu had already found out that A Yen was a fox who relied on the tiger's prestige to intimidate others. She had been tolerating it before. This time, she could no longer ignore it. The servant's behavior was also the master's face. Jiang Yu even felt that A Yen was not as good as Night Sorrow's servant. "Your business is doing well. The main thing is that you have a good reputation. Treasure-seeking street is also popular." Jiang Yu sat down and said, "It's just that it's not easy to make a living." Night Sorrow said, "You're making a living? You're eating and drinking well. You're robbing, and you're robbing in a righteous way." Jiang Yu took a sip of tea and said, Young lady Jiang, you're exaggerating." Night Sorrow said with a smile, "This time, I want to ask for a spirit-replenishing pill." Jiang Yu said, "Materials. Do you have the materials?" Night Sorrow poured another cup of tea for Jiang Yu. "I don't have the materials. I'm just asking for a pill." Jiang Yu looked at Night Sorrow. Chapter 1543. Miss Jiang, do you know what the spirit replenishing pill means? Night Sorrow asked. Of course I do. I once lost a battle avatar and my soul is damaged. Although the spirit replenishing pill may not be able to make up for it perfectly, it should still have some effect, Jiang Yu said. What do you say, Miss Jiang? Night Sorrow asked. We'll call it even for the remaining 40 pills, Jiang Yu said. It's not difficult for me to refine 40 pills. If I want to, I can finish it quickly. Night Sorrow shook his head. The last time he took out the spirit replenishing pill, it was to tell Jiang Yu and the others that he was confident in alchemy. It was not because the spirit replenishing pill was cheap. Then tell me, Jiang Yu said. I won't take advantage of you. 2 spirit replenishing pills and 40 pills, we'll call it even. I need something of the 9th rank, such as a cultivation technique inheritance, a refining inheritance, or an array diagram. But I hope you won't fool me with trash, Night Sorrow said. Deal. I'll come to you later. Jiang Yu nodded. This was the difference in background. Night Sorrow's background was incomparable to Jiang Yu's, resulting in cultivation techniques, refining artifacts, and alchemy inheritances being things that he could not obtain. However, it was not difficult for Jiang Yu. As the little princess of Kanglin Manor, one of the 7 manors of Ethereal Imperial City, she could still get these things if she wanted to. Of course, it was also difficult. After Jiang Yu left, Night Sorrow went to the front desk and took an order according to the number plate. However, another guest came at this time, Gong Xianyu and Ghost Monkey. Night Sorrow ignored them and just waved his arm for Lu Yun to receive them. The last time Ghost Monkey followed him, Night Sorrow already knew that Gong Xianyu was a scheming person. Master Knight, you're a giant, Gong Xianyu said. Why would I keep people 1,000 miles away? Night Sorrow turned his head to look at Gong Xianyu. He knew in his heart, but he did not have to say it out loud. I think there might be a misunderstanding between us. Last time, you left in a hurry. I was worried that something might have happened to you, so I let Ghost Monkey follow you, Gong Xianyu said. So that's how it is. Then I have to thank Miss Gong for her concern. Night Sorrow said with a smile, but he did not make it clear. They were all smart people, and Gong Xian naturally understood that Night Sorrow had already seen through Ghost Monkey's stalking. Now, he was saying this to resolve the awkwardness. There's no need to be so polite. If Celestial Master Yi needs anything, you can ask at any time, said Gong Xianmoon. This servant is of little importance and does not dare to trouble Miss Gong. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and refused. If possible, Night Sorrow didn't want to have any entanglements with Gong Xian or Guanyue Mansion. From Gong Xian's behavior, he could see Guanyue Mansion's style of doing things. You're too polite. When you're done, I'll treat you to a drink when you have time. Gong Xianyu smiled. She knew that she couldn't rush to resolve this misunderstanding. In addition, she felt that Night Sorrow was someone without a foundation and would be easy to win over. Gong Xianyu and Ghost Monkey left Treasure Seeking Street. ZX Forever Y Forever V read #novel, Miss, there's no need to be too polite with him. If you want to suppress and win him over, he won't be able to resist, said Ghost Monkey. This guy isn't that simple. You followed him in the direction of the Imperial Palace, which is also the direction of the God-Fiend Castle. The time of Luo Fei's death also matches up, so it's possible that. Gong Xianyu glanced at Ghost Monkey, but didn't finish her sentence. Ghost Monkey was stunned and didn't say anything. Everyone saw his alchemy and refining standards, but what about his combat strength? Without some ability, how could he have discovered that you were following him? Let's not talk about this. Gong Xianyu didn't want to touch the taboo of the God-Fiend Castle. Gong Xianyu didn't dare to touch it. She could guess, but she couldn't make it public. Ghost Monkey thought for a moment and didn't say anything. Some things weren't easy to say. Night Sorrow was still the same. When night fell, he would bring Lu Yun back to the courtyard. Sometimes, he would buy some wine and food on the way. When eating and drinking, Night Sorrow would also call for Lu Yun. Although Lu Yun was a slave, Night Sorrow felt that fate was unfair. Since they were living under the same roof, he had to respect him. Lu Yun didn't change his attitude just because Night Sorrow's attitude was good. He did what he needed to do and took care of the courtyard in an orderly manner. After drinking tea together again, Night Sorrow looked at Lu Yun. I have something to say. In fact, the thing that people can't lose the most is hope. When I'm done with my work, I'll give you freedom. You can live however you want. Young master, are you serious? Lu Yun asked in astonishment. Night Sorrow had mentioned it once before, but Lu Yun thought that he was just trying to win her over, so she didn't take it to heart. After spending some time with Night Sorrow, she understood that Night Sorrow wasn't that kind of person. Actually, this is my second time buying servants at the market. The last time was Fate. Now, their family is living very well. Their son is my disciple, and so is their daughter-in-law. Night Sorrow smiled. He liked the Ning family very much, so he had taken Ning Yun as his disciple. You took in a slave's child as your disciple? Lu Yun was astonished. There's no difference between nobility and lowliness. Perhaps they didn't come from a good background or have experienced some setbacks, but that won't affect their future achievements and status. Don't feel inferior. As long as you're alive and positive, everything can change. Night Sorrow stood up. He felt that Lu Yun should understand his words. After Night Sorrow left, Lu Yun fell into deep thought. Night Sorrow's words had touched her. As long as she was alive, she couldn't lose hope. This was what she had to do. Lu Yun took a deep breath and cleaned the tea table. The days were the same as before. After handing in another business, Jiang Yu came. This time, it was him. Aren't you going out with any guards? Night Sorrow asked with a smile. This is my family's territory. No one is blind enough to provoke me. Jiang Yu didn't stand on ceremony as he directly entered the back hall of the stall. Night Sorrow followed him in. She knew that Jiang Yu was here to make a deal. Last time, I gave you a Tier 9 refining technique. This time, I'm giving you a personal letter from an Imperial Lord-level alchemist. I'm sorry about the cultivation technique. The low-level one is useless to you. I can't give you a high-level one. Jiang Yu didn't take out a jade slip, but a very simple beast-hide book. Night Sorrow put away the letter and gave 2 spirit-replenishing pills to Jiang Yu. You're going to make a deal without reading the letter? Jiang Yu said in surprise. I trust you, said Yishang. Trust me. If you want to cultivate a cultivation technique, you need an opportunity. The Tier 9 cultivation technique that our House of Azure Water has is in my father's hands. It was given to him by the War Emperor, so you know, Jiang Yu said. It couldn't be spread. Night Sorrow understood what Jiang Yu meant. The House of Azure Water's cultivation technique was given to him by the ethereal War Emperor. He only had the right to cultivate it. He didn't dare to trade it. It would be blasphemous to the ethereal War Emperor and the consequences would be severe. I'll try my best to think of a way, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 1544. I don't quite understand, said Night Sorrow. What is a Stage 9 Imperial Realm? That's the king of cultivators, revered by everyone. Some cultivators have good stuff but don't give it to others? Some big factions don't try to rope them in? Do they have to worry about cultivation techniques? I heard from my father that Stage 9 cultivation techniques are actually combat techniques. It has little to do with cultivation. I'm not sure about the specifics, said Jiang Yu. All right, I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. What the heavenly monarchs worry about is the improvement of their realm. This step is too difficult. Some old heavenly monarchs have lived for hundreds of millions of years and are tired of living. In the end, their nascent soul collapses and perishes. Jiang Yu sighed. This was the sorrow of cultivators and experts. Nascent soul collapses? Night Sorrow looked at Jiang Yu in surprise. Yes. After living for countless years and not being able to make a sudden breakthrough, they don't even believe in themselves. Every day, they are muddle-headed and have no direction. After a long time, their mental state will naturally be covered in dust and perish. Such things happen from time to time. In the celestial realm, there are many such heavenly monarchs, said Jiang Yu. This is also very sad. Night Sorrow nodded. Such people are also the scariest. They are stuck at a bottleneck for countless years. Although they can't break through, they can comprehend other things by analogy and have many absolute arts. They can even fight against early thearchs. When their Tao heart is unstable, they will go crazy and act without thinking of the consequences. No one is willing to provoke such a lunatic, even if they are Emperor Realm cultivators. Jiang Yu explained to Night Sorrow once again. I understand now. If there is anything you need to refine, come and find me. I will not refuse if I can do it. Night Sorrow nodded at Jiang Yu. He knew very well that Jiang Yu and Gong Xian Yu were not the same kind of people. At the very least, Jiang Yu knew how to treat others with sincerity. Alright, work hard to accumulate wealth and then set up a shop. Only then will you have a foothold in the ethereal imperial city. Jiang Yu stood up and reminded Night Sorrow. After sending Jiang Yu off, another guest came. However, Night Sorrow couldn't see through this guest's aura. An Imperial Realm cultivator. Night Sorrow knew that this person was an Imperial Realm giant. His face was very young and looked to be around 27 or 28 years old. Lu Yun received the others first. Sir, please take a seat, Night Sorrow said. You must be Celestial Master Yi. It's like this, I have an armor that was damaged in a battle. I've looked for many people, including even Imperial Masters, but they couldn't repair it. The main reason is that this armor isn't mainstream. It's a strange type of armor. A few days ago, I saw one of your works and felt that your technique and way of thinking were a little different, so I came to try my luck, the man said after sitting down. Sir, you think too highly of me. If even the Imperial Preceptor can't fix it, I, a heavenly adept artificer, naturally can't fix it either, Night Sorrow said. Don't worry, I'm just here to try my luck. Actually, this armor isn't very useful to me now, but it's been with me since I was weak, so I'm a little reluctant to part with it. Take it and have a look. It's best if it works, but it's fine if it doesn't. After saying that, the man took out a silver armor and reached out to touch it with regret in his eyes. Then, the man handed the armor to Night Sorrow. Holding the armor, Night Sorrow began to inspect it with his soul power. After inspecting it for a while, Night Sorrow found that this was a very special armor. It was covered with spirit-dispersing arrays, which meant that a large part of the energy attack would dissipate when it hit the armor. In addition, there were also some very special arrays that could gather energy. The gathered energy was the same as Night Sorrow's true chi energy, which was void energy. There was a hole in the chest of the armor that broke the array. If he wanted to repair it, he would have to repair it and then reconnect the array. To do this, he would need to deduce an energy inspection to restore the array's circuit to its original state. In addition, Night Sorrow also found an artifact spirit. However, because it was severely injured, the artifact spirit had turned into a ball of energy and should be in a dormant state. This armor is very special. It has a very strong energy defense, but its weak point is material defense. The spirit dispersing array is a special feature. Its strongest point should be that the array inside it can produce void energy, which can annihilate some of the energy that attacks the body. However, now that it has been damaged, most of the arrays have stopped operating, and the artifact spirit has also fallen into a dormant state. Night Sorrow said his conclusion. It seems that your reputation is not just for show. If you want to repair it, you will need to deduce and use your soul power to inspect it. However, if the energy you pour in is weak, it will be annihilated by the spirit dispersing array and the array inside the armor. If the energy you pour in is too strong, it will be beyond what the armor can withstand. Then the armor will be damaged even more. Do you have a way to repair it? The man looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Materials. Materials? I'm inexperienced, so I don't know what materials were used to make this armor, but I'm sure it's a treasure that contains void energy. Special materials and a powerful spirit dispersing formation have formed an extremely strong energy defense. If you want to repair it, you'll need materials like this. I don't even know the materials, so I can't do anything. I'm very sorry. Night Sorrow pushed the armor back to the man. Your analysis is very accurate. The material used to make this armor is Void Star Core Iron. It is a product of the space world's core. It can only be obtained during the Great Destruction of Space. Back then, my father paid a huge price to refine this armor. Originally, it could have been directly refined into an Emperor tier armor, but at that time, my cultivation level was low, so I refined a defensive armor that could grow. I still have some Nihility Star Core Iron left. If I give you some Nihility Star Core Iron, can you repair it? The man looked at Night Sorrow with eyes full of hope and desire. I can try. I can guarantee that the armor won't be damaged, but the results are hard to say. If there is a problem, please don't blame me, sir, Night Sorrow said. X Yong dollar long? Hashtag free 3. Fee QC 0% little. Say unspecified currency 7. It's good that there is hope. Tell me, what do you want in return? The man stood up. His eyes didn't leave Night Sorrow. I am a heavenly monarch. What I want is an emperor-grade cultivation technique. I wonder if sir can help me? Night Sorrow looked at the man in front of him and asked. The man turned his head and looked to the other side. After thinking for a while, he looked at Night Sorrow again. I can't give you the cultivation technique that I am cultivating because it is passed down in my family. However, I have obtained a cultivation technique when I was training in the past. Although the level is a little low and can only increase one's cultivation, it can be used as a reference. Since you can enter the Emperor grade, it can help you cultivate. With this foundation, you can go and look for a better cultivation technique. Alright, then it's settled. Leave the armor here. We will know the result in a month's time. Whether it works or not, we will know, Night Sorrow said. Then it's settled. You don't have to call me sir. My name is Wufeng. You can just call me Brother Wufeng, Qin Wufeng said. Chapter 1545. Wufeng turned his head and looked at Heaven Lord Lin Mu. His eyes shot out a strong light, making Heaven Lord Lin Mu, who was already unsteady, take a few steps back. Withdrawing his gaze, Edgeless nodded at Yishang and took out 2 pieces of silver-purple ore. There are only 2 pieces left. Take them and study them. Then, Wufeng turned and left Treasure-Seeking Street. He's an Emperor Realm cultivator, but it's rare for him to care so much about the armor. Night Sorrow said, That's Emperor Wufeng. He's famous. Heaven Lord Lin Mu came to Night Sorrow's side. His face was full of shock. He still hadn't recovered from the shock. Emperor Realm? Night Sorrow looked at Lin Mu. He felt that Lin Mu should know more about Emperor Wufeng. Yes, he's an Emperor Realm cultivator. There's an Emperor Wufeng mansion in our ethereal imperial city. It has nothing to do with the 7 mansions. No one from the 7 mansions dared to provoke him. I don't know much about him, but when he was in the Emperor Realm, he had the strength to fight against an Emperor Realm cultivator. His name is his title. He has an edgeless sword that no one in the same realm could touch. Looks like he's very strong. But that's not important. Let's see if we can refine it well. Night Sorrow smiled. He had a good impression of Wufeng. Night Sorrow was very easygoing. From his attitude toward the armor, it could be seen that Wufeng was a very affectionate person. Heaven Master Night Sorrow, please don't destroy his armor. Repair it conservatively. Heaven Lord Lin Mu reminded Night Sorrow. He was afraid that Night Sorrow would destroy the armor and Wufeng would be angry. After returning to his residence, Night Sorrow entered the Dragon Cauldron to study Wufeng's armor. He had to understand it before he could repair it. Because they were of the same origin, Night Sorrow's soul power was of the Void attribute. It was the purest. Therefore, the energy from the Void Star Core Iron couldn't harm Night Sorrow's soul power. Instead, it was suppressed by Night Sorrow's soul power. Yishang's soul power wandered within the armor, analyzing the structure of the array formation. As long as he could understand it, he would be able to repair the array formation within the armor. As he probed and studied, the circuits of the formation inside the armor appeared in Yishang's mind like a dense spiderweb. Time passed and Night Sorrow studied it for 5 days. Night Sorrow had only understood a part of the array. After coming out of the Dragon Cauldron, Night Sorrow, Lu Yun, and Lu Yun continued to set. Seeing Yishang's arrival, many stall owners nodded in greeting. Night Sorrow's appearance spurred the pill business in Treasure-Seeking Street. Everyone lowered the cost of refining pills and the price of pills. However, with more customers, the income wasn't bad. Ordinary pills couldn't be refined by Night Sorrow. There was no queue. Every stall owner had their own business. These stall owners were very envious of Night Sorrow. He lived a carefree life. When it was dark, he would pack up and leave. He wouldn't take any customers. After Night Sorrow received an order, he began refining in the back hall. Jiang Yu came over to take a look when he had nothing to do. Night Sorrow had Lu Yun receive him. Fortunately, Jiang Yu wasn't too arrogant. He drank some tea and left after a while. The days passed peacefully. However, Night Sorrow discovered some problems. People were watching him. They didn't refine pills or tools. They just wandered around his shop. Half a month passed. Night Sorrow studied Wufeng's armor in the Dragon Cauldron for more than 2 months. Night Sorrow told Lu Yun that he was busy for a few days. If he didn't show up, he wouldn't take any orders. Night Sorrow wanted to officially repair Wufeng's armor. If he couldn't stop halfway, he wouldn't take any orders. Yi Shang already had a thorough understanding of the formation of the armor. During this period of time, his cultivation in formations had increased by a lot as he studied the armor. He had also finished outlining the part of the formation that needed to be repaired in his mind. He melted the Void Star core iron, condensed it, and then repaired it. Before the material cooled down, he repaired the missing parts of the armor. Then, he started to outline the array formation diagram. Night Sorrow already had an idea of the array formation diagram. However, it was very complicated. That small area had to accommodate hundreds of array formations. It also had to be perfectly connected to the other areas of the armor. It was extremely difficult. Night Sorrow kept the repair part of the armor from cooling down. Then, he continued to draw the array formation diagram and the array formation diagram. This wasn't a small project. If Night Sorrow had refined a monarch weapon himself, it wouldn't have been so troublesome. The way he drew the array formation diagram was as smooth as flowing water. Right now, he was repairing and connecting the array formation. Night Sorrow didn't even know how many lines he needed to connect. Every time he finished drawing the array formation diagram and connecting the array formation diagram, Night Sorrow would complete it and make sure the array formation was smooth. Time slowly slipped away. The array formation in the empty areas of the armor became more and more complete. However, Night Sorrow purposely controlled the critical lines to not connect because once the array was activated, it would be very difficult to repair. 5 days later, Night Sorrow finished repairing the damaged areas of the armor. Then he connected the critical areas of each array formation and activated it. As all the arrays were connected and activated, the armor glowed with light. It was obvious that it was no ordinary item. In truth, Night Sorrow knew that this armor was no longer an armor of the same tier. He didn't know what tier it had been in the past, but it had already crossed the threshold and was now an Emperor armament. However, Night Sorrow knew that while he was repairing an Emperor armament, he couldn't refine it. If he had to refine the array formation from start to finish, his spiritual energy and pill flame wouldn't be able to handle it. Holding the glowing armor, Night Sorrow returned to the real world. He took a bath and rushed to the stall. Lu Yun wasn't in the courtyard. When he arrived at the stall, Night Sorrow saw many people waiting. They all wanted to ask Night Sorrow to refine pills, weapons, and armor. Night Sorrow saw 2 familiar faces in the line. They were the people who had once watched him. One of them was at the front of the line and wanted to refine a saber. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow decided to accept because the person had a number plate and was at the front of the line. After collecting the fee and receiving the request, Night Sorrow began to refine. A saber was nothing to him. The days went by smoothly, and Night Sorrow accepted 2 orders. If it was a complicated one, he would take one. The 1-month deadline with Wufeng drew closer and closer. However, Night Sorrow also ran into trouble. 2 customers who had refined Night Sorrow's saber came looking for him, saying that Night Sorrow's saber was trash and that it was a lie. Night Sorrow lowered his head and pondered. These 2 were the people who had been watching him for the past few days. While Night Sorrow was pondering how to deal with this problem, Jiang Yu and Gong Xian arrived. Gong Xian was accompanied by Ghost Monkey. "You said that your saber is of high quality, but it's just for show. An old man in luxurious clothes held a saber as he spoke. He was the first person to refine a saber after Night Sorrow had finished repairing Wu Feng's armor. Go! I don't know. How did I offend the two of you? You were watching me first, but now you've come looking for trouble. If you have something to say, just say it. Night Sorrow raised his head and looked across the street at the azure-robed Wu Feng. First update. Chapter 1546. Wu Feng nodded at Night Sorrow. As Night Sorrow turned his head to look at the old man in luxurious clothes. He knew that there were some things that had to be resolved today. The item you refined isn't good enough, so you have to compensate me. Otherwise, don't blame me for ruining your reputation, said the old man in luxurious clothes. Fellow Taoist, why are you so aggressive? Isn't there another way to resolve this matter? Gong Xianyu stepped forward and said, So it's Miss Gong. I will definitely give face to Miss Gong, but he has to give an explanation, said the old man in luxurious clothes after glancing at Night Sorrow. That's right. We can give face to Miss Gong, but you have to give us an explanation, said another middle-aged man. There's no need for that. You don't have to give face to anyone. If you say that my item isn't good, then let the facts speak for themselves. However, I have to make it clear in advance. If the facts prove that you're looking for trouble, then I won't let it go. Yishang took a deep breath and shook his head helplessly. He had a pretty good idea of what had happened. If you're looking for trouble, then I'll deal with it, said Jiang Yu. There's no need for Miss Jiang to step in. This is the territory of Tsanglan Manor. If there's no problem with my item and someone is looking for trouble, then I'll fight back. It's not considered causing trouble in the city, right? Night Sorrow looked at Jiang Yu. Of course not. Jiang Yu nodded. All right. Thank you, Miss Jiang. Since the two of you said that my item is trash, why don't you prove it? Night Sorrow looked at the two men who were looking for trouble. We're giving you a way out. Since you're so shameless, don't blame us for being rude. This is the saber you refined. The man raised his hand and slapped the saber in half. I'm shameless? Now you don't have any face even if you want to. Fellow Taoist, and that? I remember that the weapons in your hands were refined by me, right? Night Sorrow looked at the onlookers and said, My weapon was refined by Celestial Master Yi, but I didn't find any problems with it. A middle-aged woman stepped forward. Lend me your weapon. Night Sorrow nodded at the middle-aged woman. The middle-aged woman took out the sword and handed it to Night Sorrow. The weapons I forge have markings on them. Of course, those who aren't observant won't be able to discover them. I've thought about it before. Night Sorrow flicked the hilt of the sword with his finger, and the hilt of the sword glowed with light. The light rays arranged themselves in an orderly manner, forming the character Knight. At this moment, everyone looked at the two men who were looking for trouble. The two men were also stunned. They didn't expect Night Sorrow to have such a trump card. There's no array on the handles of your weapons. You want to cause trouble, but you don't have a brain. What kind of trick does your master want to play with me? He's in the wrong place. Night Sorrow reached out and pulled out Splitter from his back. Then he used Space Revolving Dragon Kill. Before the old man could react, Splitter pierced through his dantian and abdomen. Then, with a flick and a stab, the old man's head was cut open. It was fine if he didn't move, but when he did, he was like a thunderbolt. Once he attacked, he would kill. The other man ran away in a flash. He naturally understood that today's matter could not be resolved peacefully. Escaping was the way to go. Night Sorrow got up and chased after him. However, he stopped after a few steps because there was already an outcome. Watch it for free for a long time. Wu Feng, who was standing on the opposite side of the street, drew a circle with his right hand and trapped the escaping man. Then he casually punched with his right hand, and the imprisoned man immediately exploded. With a casual move, this heaven monarch was killed. Wu Feng raised his left hand and coughed. If you don't want to live, then die. Seeing Wu Feng walk over, Jiang Yu and Gong Xianyu bowed. You're here. Night Sorrow nodded at Wu Feng. Yes, that move was beautiful. Wu Feng finished speaking and walked to the back of the stall. Sorry for the lack of hospitality. Also, Don't worry, everyone. The things I forge are worthy of my conscience. Elixirs are for eating, not playing with. Weapons and armor are closely related to a cultivator's life. I won't joke about it. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands at the group of people and then instructed Lu Yun to take orders according to the order. After making the arrangements, Knight Sorrow nodded at Jiang Yu and glanced at Gong Xianyu before entering the back of the stall. I'm just here for a walk today. Don't feel pressured and don't think about a month, Wu Feng said to Knight Sorrow. My lord values that armor very much. I understand that very well. Naturally, I can't ignore it. Knight Sorrow took the tea set and poured a pot of tea. Then, he took out the armor and placed it on the table in front of Wu Feng. Seeing the shining armor, Wu Feng stood up and reached out to touch it. His eyes were filled with shock. The old celestial master who forged this armor was in bad condition back then, so I didn't want to trouble him to repair it. When his nascent soul collapsed and he died, I thought there was no hope. I didn't expect you to be able to restore it to its original state. Looking at the energy, it seems there's still room for improvement, Wu Feng said. He was clearly surprised by this result. My lord, it's good that you're satisfied. There's still some Nihility Star Core Iron left. Knight Sorrow took out the remaining Nihility Star Core Iron and placed it in front of Wu Feng. Wu Feng didn't take back the materials. Instead, he focused all his attention on the armor. The artifact spirit was injured back then and fell into hibernation. Now that the formation has been repaired and is operating again, it can naturally absorb energy to recover. It's just a matter of time, Knight Sorrow said. Very good. I can feel it. Beautiful, beautifully restored. Edgeless raised his head and looked at Knight Sorrow. My lord, it's good that you're satisfied, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. I told you last time that you could just call me Brother Wu Feng. Although I'm only here to take a look, I've already prepared your reward. Wu Feng took out a jade slip and handed it to Yishang. His way of addressing himself had also changed a little. Thank you for your help, Brother Wu Feng. Knight Sorrow stood up and received the jade slip with both hands. This is the primordial chaos art. Its main purpose is to assist in cultivation. With detailed guidance, it's very good for your foundation. It's most suitable for you to use the primordial chaos art to build your foundation after entering the 9th rank. With a good foundation, you won't have to worry about not having a suitable cultivation art, Wu Feng said to Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow understands. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands at Wu Feng. Knight Sorrow, a good name. You don't have to take any orders today. Let's go to a restaurant and have a drink. Wu Feng was in a good mood. All right, then I won't work today. I'll accompany Brother Wu Feng for a drink. Knight Sorrow was also very happy that Wu Feng was satisfied with the repaired armor. Knight Sorrow asked Wu Feng to put away the Void Star Core Iron. Wu Feng only smiled and said that he would send Knight Sorrow off. All of this happened in a moment. Knight Sorrow and Wu Feng came out. The onlookers had yet to disperse. Jiang Yu and Gong Xianyu were still there. I'm very sorry for today's incident, but thank you for your trust. Lu Yun took 2 orders today. I'll go out for a drink and come back to refine. Miss Jiang, I won't be receiving you today. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands at the onlookers. After giving some instructions to Lu Yun, he greeted Jiang Yu and ignored Gong Xianyu. At this time, Gong Xianyu's expression was very ugly. She naturally knew what was going on. The second update has arrived. Last night, both of my computer's hard drives crashed. Now I'm typing on my laptop, so it's slower. I still have to repair my computer. The afternoon update is set for 1 o'clock. Chapter 1547. Knight Sorrow's words made it clear that he knew someone was behind this. Knight Sorrow's attitude also made it clear. Gong Xian was very clear about this. He just didn't expose the matter. Knight Sorrow and Wu Feng left Treasure Seeking Street and arrived at a restaurant. This restaurant looks good. Let's go here, Wu Feng muttered and led Knight Sorrow into the restaurant. After calling the waiter and ordering a table of dishes, Wu Feng led Knight Sorrow into a private room. Knight Sorrow, thank you very much for the armor. Let's not talk too much. Drink more later. Wu Feng put his left hand in front of his mouth and coughed. Brother Wufeng, you're too polite. You paid for it too. Night Sorrow said. However, he found it strange. A normal Emperor Realm cultivator would not cough. It's not the same. You don't know what this armor means to me. Let me tell you. I come from a big family, but I fell out with my family. This armor is a gift from my father, and it's also the only gift he has. With this armor, it's as if I can see my father's majestic back, supporting me to face all difficulties and opponents, Wufeng said in a low voice. I see. Brother Wufeng, you seem to have an old illness, Night Sorrow said. Yes, it happened a long time ago. I'm not afraid that you'll laugh at me. It's the result of a palm strike from my mother. Wufeng laughed. It was a self-deprecating laugh. Night Sorrow did not know what to say because this might be a tragedy. Then, Wufeng seemed to be muttering to himself. He told Night Sorrow some things. Perhaps the armor's repair had touched his heart. Wufeng's mother was a member of a big family. His father was a lone cultivator, but his strength was shocking. When he first appeared, he was in the area of Wufeng's mother's family. At that time, he was injured and had lost his memory. Later on, he married Wufeng's mother. Wufeng had been outstanding since he was young. However, he made a mistake. During a spar, he accidentally injured his uncle's son. As a result, his mother gave him a palm strike on the spot. Wufeng's uncle was the heir of the family and held a high position in the family. This situation led to the family wanting to execute Wufeng. My father, the man they called the Mad Devil, brought me out. It was a bitter battle. I survived, but my father was gone. He was drowned by them. Edgeless let out a sigh. I'm sorry for bringing up Brother Wufeng's past. Night Sorrow poured a glass of wine for Wufeng. This armor was made from materials that my father collected before he lost his memories. He also paid a huge price to get someone to make it for him. He understood the family situation and didn't want me to stand out too much, so he only made armor that could protect me. He also gave me the name Wufeng. Father didn't want me to stand out too much, Wufeng said. Can I examine Brother Wufeng? Night Sorrow asked. It's useless. My mother, who wanted to kill me, cultivated an extreme Yin technique. Although my father blocked that palm strike, it still damaged my life essence. Wufeng shook his head. Nothing is absolute. If you don't mind, I can help you take a look. Night Sorrow was somewhat insistent. Wufeng's words had resonated with him. Then I can't refuse your good intentions. Come. Wufeng stretched out his arm. Night Sorrow placed 2 fingers on Wufeng's wrist and began to examine him. Fierce and tyrannical, Wufeng's true energy surged like a tidal wave. However, it didn't affect Night Sorrow's probing power. The tyrannical energy didn't harm Night Sorrow, but there was an extremely cold Yin energy within it that attacked Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's probing power was instantly destroyed, but the cold Yin energy didn't stop there. It flowed through Night Sorrow's fingers and entered his body. Night Sorrow's body surged with energy, resisting the invasion of the energy. Defeat. The power of desolates in Yi Shang's body was defeated. Suppress. At the critical moment, Night Sorrow used his virtuous invincible golden body. Following the appearance of a fierce and righteous golden light, the cold Yin energy was forced out of Night Sorrow's body and dispersed. At this moment, Wufeng stood up and looked at Night Sorrow in astonishment. Moments later, Wufeng laughed. I almost tricked you. I forgot that you aren't in the Arch Realm. The 2 alchemists who examined my body in the past were Thearka's tutors. Therefore, they could resist this energy, but a heavenly monarch couldn't. Fortunately, you were able to resist it. Otherwise, I would have made a grave mistake. What is it? Why is it so cold and sinister? Night Sorrow was also very shocked. It's my mother's family's absolute art. What was that just now? Virtuous light? Wufeng looked at Night Sorrow, who had withdrawn his aura, and asked. I won't hide it from Brother Wufeng. Yes, I have virtuous light. I also integrated it into my body tempering cultivation technique. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Brother, you are so domineering. You killed that troublemaker with 1 shot today. That is also proof of your strength. Wufeng laughed. Brother Wufeng, the problem in your body is very serious. I can't solve it now. Night Sorrow shook his head. It's fine. You might be able to in the future because you can resist this cold energy. Don't mind my straightforwardness. Your cultivation is too low now. Wu Feng was in high spirits. What's wrong with that? If I can't, then I can't. Night Sorrow said. After drinking, Night Sorrow and Wu Feng separated. Night Sorrow returned to Treasure-Seeking Street to continue accepting refining missions. Gong Xianmoon was gone, but Jiang Yu was still there. Heavenly Master Knight, you are good. You actually managed to repair Monarch Wu Feng's armor. It seems you have hidden your refining skills well. Jiang Yu looked at Night Sorrow and said, I was just lucky and happened to repair it, Night Sorrow said. Monarch Wu Feng's appearance today caused those troublemakers to have no end. I wonder if that idiot will continue to do something, Jiang Yu said. It seems you know what to do. Night Sorrow poured Jiang Yu a cup of wine. Yes, she is AB*TSH. There is nothing she won't do. She has embarrassed the 7 prefectures. Jiang Yu's eyes were full of disdain. It seems her character is bad. Night Sorrow nodded. Not only is her character bad, but she is also promiscuous. Jiang Yu spat out a few more words. Night Sorrow turned to look at Jiang Yu. She didn't expect Jiang Yu to have such an evaluation of Gong Xianmoon. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. Do you think I'm slandering her? You can hook your finger and she might be waiting for you on your bed. You can do whatever you want. One of my guards was seduced by her just like that. However, I don't rely on bullying. You know what I mean. Jiang Yu made a gesture. You guys are born into a good family. You can play whatever you want. I just want to live a quiet life. Night Sorrow said helplessly. Chapter 1548. That's not appropriate. Not only will I embarrass myself, but your reputation will also be damaged, Night Sorrow said with a smile. You're right, but don't worry. If you don't submit, she can't do anything to you, Jiang Yu said with a smile. Ethereal Imperial City still had its rules. Not everyone could do whatever they wanted. Jiang Yu didn't ask about the matter between Night Sorrow and Wu Feng because it was a private matter. It wasn't appropriate for her to ask about Wu Feng's matters. Night Sorrow packed up his stall while Jiang Yu watched from the side. Miss Jiang, let's have tea together when you have time, Night Sorrow said to Jiang Yu after he finished packing up. Okay, I'll come over tomorrow. Also, I have to remind you again that there are many women in the world. Don't let a moment of pleasure cause you to be doomed eternally. Jiang Yu glanced at Night Sorrow before leaving the stall. Night Sorrow smiled helplessly. Jiang Yu was a straightforward person. She said whatever came to her mind. Her personality was very similar to Yang Lei's. She wasn't shy at all. Night Sorrow walked in front while Lu Yun followed behind. The two bought some food and wine before returning to the side courtyard. At this moment, in a mansion near Guanyue Prefecture, Gong Xianyu's face was gloomy. This guy is so daring. He guessed that he was one of us and still tried to kill him. Gong Xianyu's face was full of frost. I'll find an opportunity to kill him, Ghost Monkey said. Dorush. Let's observe the situation first. In short, we can't let that little bitch Jiang Yu recruit him, Gong Xianyu said. He went drinking with Monarch Wu Feng today. Will there be any changes? Ghost Monkey asked worriedly. You're overthinking it. Monarch Wu Feng is a person who can't do anything, let alone a heavenly monarch. It's impossible for them to have any entanglements with each other. It won't affect anything. I must teach this guy a lesson. It's mainly because that bitch Jiang Yu is in the way. She's never seen a man before and keeps making waves. Gong Xian cursed. After that, Gong Xian decided to visit Night Sorrow's courtyard. She didn't believe that a native without any foundation like Night Sorrow could withstand her pressure. Emperor Wu Feng had appeared during the day, so she couldn't force her way in. While Night Sorrow and Lu Yun were drinking and chatting, the month of Gong Xian arrived. She entered Night Sorrow's courtyard by herself. As for the Ghost Monkey, he was waiting in the shadows. Lu Yun, go out and buy some good wine. Night Sorrow nodded to Lu Yun and sent him away. I'm here. Don't you welcome me? Luo Xiu waved her hand and swept the chair. Gong Xianmoon sat across from Night Sorrow. XJ, do you think I welcome you or not? Night Sorrow poured himself a glass of wine. It seems like you have a deep opinion of me. I admit that I was the one who sent the ghost monkey that day. The two people who died today were also my subordinates. It's actually nothing. I just want you to join my moon-gazing manor and work for my Gong family. I won't treat you badly either. You can have whatever you want. As long as you want it, I'll find a way to solve it. Gong Xianmoon said. I'm sorry, but that's not what I want. Please don't force me. Night Sorrow said. He was surprised that Gong Xianmoon would be so direct. You can have whatever you want. Can't I? Gong Xianmoon stood up and pressed her hands on the table. She leaned forward and looked at Night Sorrow, her chest surging intensely. Please have some self-respect. Go back. I'll pretend you weren't here. Night Sorrow stood up. He didn't like being looked down upon. You really don't understand things. Since you want to make trouble, I'll accompany you. Emperor Wufeng will protect you? You're thinking too much. Gong Xianmoon stood up straight and snorted coldly. I've never wanted anyone to protect me, and I don't need it. I won't see you out. Night Sorrow didn't care about Gong Xianmoon's threat. After Gong Xianmoon left, Night Sorrow fell into deep thought. It was better to offend a gentleman than a villain. Gong Xianmoon was a villain, and she was also the little princess of a manor. She had a lot of power and was troublesome. However, it was impossible for Night Sorrow to compromise. That would be humiliating. As for women, Gong Xianmoon was very beautiful and sexy. However, Night Sorrow was a man of integrity. He also felt that Gong Xianmoon was dirty in human nature. He felt that any of his wives were more seductive than her. Thinking of this, Night Sorrow smiled. He felt very blessed. Lu Yun returned after Gong Xianmoon and Ghost Monkey left. Of course, she had also bought wine. She knew that Night Sorrow liked good wine. She didn't come for anything good, did she? Lu Yun opened a jar of wine and poured Night Sorrow a cup. She's not a good person. How could she be a good person? She can do whatever she wants. We'll live our lives as usual. Night Sorrow didn't care about today's matters at all. If it doesn't work, young master can just close the shop and refuse to see customers, Lu Yun said. There's no need. You don't have to worry. Night Sorrow shook his head at Lu Yun. Following that, Night Sorrow told Lu Yun that he would be away for 2 days. During these 2 days, he wouldn't accept any orders. He had accumulated a lot of materials during this time, and it wasn't safe to bring them with him. Sending them back to Star Moon Lake was a good choice. After informing Lu Yun, Yi Shang left the courtyard. He took a teleportation array and left Ethereal Imperial City. He wanted to see how things had developed over the past 2 months. He wanted to see how things had developed at Star Moon Lake. Although there was a teleportation array, it was still a long way from Ethereal Imperial City to Greenwater City and then to Star Moon Lake. After teleporting for a while, Night Sorrow arrived at Greenwater City. After leaving Greenwater City, Night Sorrow set up a teleportation array 20,000 miles away from Greenwater City. Then he used an illusion array to hide it. This way, when he reached Star Moon Lake, he could set up a teleportation array to connect to it. It would be convenient for him to return to Ethereal Imperial City. When he arrived at Star Moon Island, Night Sorrow discovered that the central area of the island had changed. There were green mountains and clear waters, and a lake in the middle of the island. The scenery was pleasant. The city lord's mansion had been built. It was a rather impressive 3-story building. When Night Sorrow returned, someone immediately came to welcome him. When he saw his wife, Datura, Night Sorrow smiled. You're back. How is this place? I don't think it's a commercial city. So, it's mainly built to be habitable. Datura said. Sure. Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't have any objections. That's your place. It should be where our house is. The craftsman came by night moon. Datura pointed into the distance. Although he couldn't see it with his eyes, Night Sorrow's soul force was strong. He immediately probed it. It was an area filled with green trees and vines. There were also several buildings inside. Very good. It's very artistic. Very tasteful. Night Sorrow was quite satisfied. In the completed City Lord's mansion, Night Sorrow discussed the situation with everyone. He also took out the inheritance of alchemy and blacksmithing. Domain Lord, it's better for you to take care of Tier 9 items. It's useless for us. Tang Jianfeng said. That's fine. This time, I'm here to return some of the more precious resources. Night Sorrow said. Then, everyone chatted. Night Sorrow told them about his situation in ethereal Imperial City. Chapter 1549. Aluo, there's still danger, Night Sorrow said. Doppelganger, it doesn't matter. The main thing is that I want to be by your side when you're fighting. Datura didn't care that there were other people in the City Lord's mansion and directly spoke his mind. That's fine too. Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't want to disappoint Mandala. Something happened. If something happened, he could shoulder it. As long as he was alive, he would protect Datura's safety. Night Sorrow's original body came out of seclusion and received the resources that Night Sorrow brought back. Then he and Datura returned to their new home, which was actually a manor. The manor was located in the best place on Star Moon Island. The scenery was beautiful and grand, and the pavilions were all very unique. Aluo, you spent a lot of effort on this place. It wasn't easy to build it, Night Sorrow said after taking a look. Star Moon Island is the base of our primal chaos realm in the celestial realm. What's the signboard here? One is the City Lord's mansion, and the other is the residence of the Domain Lord, Datura said. Night Sorrow didn't refute. He really did need a stable residence. While drinking tea and chatting, Night Sorrow asked Datura's original body to come over as well. There shouldn't be a problem with the safety of this place. This way, both of their original bodies could cultivate together in the Haotian Godly Pagoda. With the Haotian Godly Pagoda, Night Sorrow's cultivation and strength improved by leaps and bounds. When his doppelganger went out for a few months, his original body would cultivate for dozens of years. In addition, the Haotian Godly Pagoda had the ability to seize the fortune of heaven and earth. When cultivating inside, not only would time accelerate, it could also clear the soul of the person cultivating inside. The secondary body had the ability to accelerate time by 50 times, but it wasn't as good at seizing the fortune of heaven and earth. There was a fundamental difference. At this time, Night Sorrow's will of space-time had already reached the level 8 King Realm. His comprehension of the will of destruction had also reached 30%. After chatting with Datura for a while, Night Sorrow took the teleportation array to the city in the sky. After seeing his other wives, parents, and children, he returned to Star Moon Island. After his original body entered the Haotian Godly Pagoda to cultivate, his doppelganger took Datura's doppelganger and left Star Moon Island. While flying with Datura, Night Sorrow turned his head to look at Datura's beautiful face. I'm really worried about bringing you out. I'm afraid that other people will have other thoughts. I'll just wear a veil when the time comes, Datura said as she hugged Night Sorrow's arm. Then I'll help you refine something that isolates you from detection. Night Sorrow said. He had suitable materials in his hands. He had some level 8 ice silk. After arriving at Misty Imperial City, Night Sorrow took Datura to his small courtyard. Although it's a bit small, it's not bad, Datura said with a smile after entering the courtyard. Young Master is back. It was already night time, and Lu Yun had already returned from the stall. Lu Yun, let me introduce you. This is my wife, Aluo. Aluo, this is Lu Yun. She's now my assistant in the stall. Night Sorrow introduced both parties. Lu Yun greets Madam. Lu Yun bowed to Datura. She was very shocked. She thought that a young master like Night Sorrow would have a beautiful wife, but Datura's appearance still shocked her. Don't be too polite. It's been hard on you during this period. Datura nodded. Then, Night Sorrow entered the 8-Dragon Cauldron and spent the night refining a veil. If one wasn't an Emperor Realm cultivator, they wouldn't be able to see Datura's appearance. In the morning, the three of them arrived at the shop. Lin Mu and the others were surprised to see Night Sorrow bringing a woman. Night Sorrow introduced her as his wife, and everyone greeted her. Night Sorrow was already respected in this area. In addition, Datura was also a heaven monarch. His aura had already surpassed the heaven monarch realm. Everyone knew that he was an expert. This time, it was Datura who sat at the front to receive customers who wanted to refine weapons and elixirs. After Jiang Yu arrived, she was stunned for a moment because the reception had changed. "You are?" Jiang Yu looked at Datura who was wearing a veil and asked, "Young Lady Jiang, this is young master's wife." "Madam, this is young master's friend, young Lady Jiang." Lu Yun introduced both parties. Datura and Jiang Yu nodded at each other. Both of them were arrogant. Jiang Yu was the little princess of one of the 7 prefectures. She had a noble status and wouldn't even lower her head when meeting an emperor. As for Datura, he had ruled over a region for countless years and had the aura of a king. It was even said that it had nothing to do with cultivation. Not to mention cultivation, just the aura on his body was very intimidating. At this moment, Night Sorrow finished refining a cauldron of elixirs and came out. "Young Lady Jiang is here. Come in and have some tea." Night Sorrow said to Jiang Yu. Night Sorrow brought Jiang Yu and Datura to the back hall and brewed a pot of tea. "Young Lady Jiang, this is my wife, so she is also your friend. You don't have to be too formal. Aluo, this is young Lady Jiang whom I am more familiar with." Night Sorrow introduced her solemnly. Jiang Yu looked at Datura. "Madam Yi, why are you wearing a veil?" Night Sorrow is worried that I am too eye-catching. Datura reached out and took off the veil. "Celestial Master Yi is right. You are too beautiful. Coupled with your temperament and figure, you are indeed too eye-catching," Jiang Yu said with a smile. She had imagined that Datura's face under the veil would be beautiful, but she didn't expect it to be a beauty that could topple cities. "Young Lady Jiang is joking," Datura said with a smile. To look at see Audition, R, Chapter T above 7. 1-inch toppling cities with a smile. "Celestial Master Yi, I take back what I said to you that day. With such a wife, it is useless to tempt you during the Gongxian month." Jiang Yu said. "Hee, but Night Sorrow understands your good intentions." Night Sorrow said with a smile. "Your name is Night Sorrow. What a good name. I only knew Celestial Master Yi in the past, but I didn't know your name. Your hometown is really full of outstanding people. You and your wife are so outstanding," Jiang Yu said with a smile. "Young Lady Jiang is too kind," Datura said. After inviting Night Sorrow and Datura to the Jiang residence, Jiang Yu left. "This is a good friend," Datura said. "It's all right. He doesn't have any petty heart." Night Sorrow said his evaluation of Jiang Yu. While the two were talking, guests arrived outside. Datura also put on a veil. She didn't want to cause any trouble. She wasn't afraid of trouble, but this was ethereal imperial city, a place full of experts. In addition, she didn't want to cause trouble for Night Sorrow. The two came out from the back hall and saw a young man in embroidered clothes. He stood in front of the stall with a few guards and said something to Lu Yun. "Young master, madam, this guest wants to refine armor, but he has a lot of requests." Lu Yun said. "He has a lot of requests. If we can't do it, we won't accept it. Please ask this young master to look elsewhere." Night Sorrow said. After coming out and seeing the situation, Night Sorrow knew what was going on. The troublemaker was Gong Xian because Gong Xian and Ghost Monkey were on the 2nd floor of the restaurant across the street. Chapter 1550. Just because you said you won't take it, you think you're doing business? The man in the brocade robe asked. "Yes, I said I won't take it. I'm doing business, but I don't care about other people's feelings." Night Sorrow looked at the man in the brocade robe and said, "I'm Yang Yu of the Sky Sun Mansion, and I want to refine an armor here. I'm giving you face, so you have to accept it." Yang Yu looked coldly at Night Sorrow. "I'm sorry, I've never heard of you, so you don't have any face here." Night Sorrow shook his head. Since he was looking for trouble, he didn't need to be polite. You want to die? Let me tell you, offending me won't end well. Or you can bring your 2 women back for me to play with. You were disrespectful just now, but I won't take it to heart. Yang Yu's gaze landed on Datura. Bring all the women in your family, your sisters, your wives, and whatever. Let my husband play with them first. Datura was furious. If this was an ethereal imperial city, she would have attacked directly. Yongjio 9 are free look 5B little M said. You're sharp-tongued. I like it. Ha. Yang Yu laughed. Scram. Night Sorrow reached out and pulled out the space splitter spear from his back. Ethereal imperial city forbade fighting, but it was still very humane. If someone was looking for trouble, then the victim could attack if he felt that he was in the right. In a fight, no matter who had the upper hand, if they were caught by the patrol, then the guilty party would be beheaded. Otherwise, if a supremacy spat in the face of a Sky Lord or an Emperor, the world would be in chaos. How dare you? You dare to fight with me? Yang Yu glared at Night Sorrow and roared. What's wrong? This is the territory of the Zhonglan Manor. Are you bigger than the Zhonglan Manor or the rules of Ethereal Imperial City? I'll ask you one more time, are you going to scram or not? Night Sorrow's energy circulated. As long as Yang Yu said no, he would attack. Yang Yu, that's enough. Gong Xianyu came out. She knew that if she didn't make a move, then war would follow. Didn't you want to kill him? Yang Yu said as he hooked his arm around Gong Xian's shoulder. Hee, why are you in such a hurry? If the business fails, he'll have nothing to eat. Gong Xianmoon looked at Night Sorrow and said. She hated Night Sorrow now. She had washed herself clean and delivered herself to his door for him to pluck, but in the end, she was chased out of the door. Her face was slapped resoundingly. All of you stay here and watch. Whoever asks him to refine pills or weapons, remember them and kill them. Kid, you don't believe me? This young master has a lot of subordinates. It's fine to exchange their avatars for their lives. This young master can provide resources for those who lose their avatars to cultivate new ones. Is it simple? Ha. Yang Yu hugged Gong Xianyu's shoulder and left Night Sorrow's shop. Shameless villain. If you don't rely on your family, then you're trash. Datura said angrily. It's nothing. If there's business, then we'll do it. If there's no business, then we'll rest. Ha. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Night Heaven Master, you've offended someone. If you can't do it, then find another place to live. Lin Mu said. Don't be afraid. It's nothing. Night Sorrow said. Lin Mu nodded. At this moment, he understood that Night Sorrow had pride in his bones. He wouldn't compromise like this. Gong Xianyu and Yang Yu didn't leave. They went to the restaurant opposite Night Sorrow's shop to drink wine. Xianyu, why are you pulling me? So what if we smash his stall? Don't tell me you've taken a fancy to him? Ha, I don't mind. As long as you're happy, then we'll kill him. Yang Yu said with a smile. Yang Yu had a wife. Besides, even if he didn't, he wouldn't marry the promiscuous Gong Xianyu. Gong Xianyu naturally wouldn't marry Yang Yu because she wouldn't be valued. The two of them were just playing around and didn't want to get in each other's way. This young lady is doing this for your own good. That guy's fighting strength is very strong. If you fight, would it be worth it? Just let your subordinates deal with him slowly. Gong Xianyu said. All right, I'll listen to you. Slowly play him to death. He's just a piece of trash. Fighting with our 7 prefectures, he should look at himself first. Yang Yu scolded. There was no business. Other than the first business in the morning, no one else came. Because if someone wanted to refine pills, Yang Yu's dog paw would appear and chase them away with the Heavenly Sun Prefecture's token. Night Sorrow, how do you plan to deal with him? Datura asked Night Sorrow, who was drinking tea. I'll kill one a day until they don't provoke me anymore. Yi Shang put down the teacup in his hand. His words were very soft, but Mandela, who knew him well, knew that Yi Shang wanted to kill him. Young master, it's dangerous. Lu Yun's expression changed when she heard Night Sorrow's words. She was a slave and had heard a lot about the 7 prefectures in the slave market. However, Night Sorrow had already made his move. He waved his hand and threw out the sky-piercing spear that he hadn't used in a long time. The sky-piercing spear, supported by the will of space-time, instantly streaked across the sky and pierced through the head of one of Yang Yu's subordinates who was blocking a customer. This subordinate was only a monarch and didn't even have the chance to react. Night Sorrow's dragon tendon shook and the sky-piercing spear spun around. The spearhead pierced the man's left hand and shattered it. The sky-piercing spear returned to Night Sorrow's side with the storage ring. "Do you want to die?" Yang Yu, who was standing in a restaurant on the opposite side of the street, shouted. "Don't be angry with me. This is only the first. If you delay my business for a day, I'll kill one more. How do you want to fight? I'll accompany you. You want to bring people to kill me? Do you dare?" Night Sorrow rinsed the storage ring he just obtained with tea and put it away. At this moment, the lively treasure-seeking street was dead silent. It was impossible to tell who was stronger now. Yang Yu and the others who bullied Night Sorrow were suppressed by Night Sorrow's aura. "I'll kill you." Yang Yu was furious. This was a slap in the face. Night Sorrow was slapping his face. He wanted to kill his people and kill one a day. However, Yang Yu was held back by Gong Xianyu. She was worried that Yang Yu wasn't a match for Night Sorrow. If something happened, it wouldn't be good for her. "If I'm afraid of you bunch of monsters, I wouldn't have come to the ethereal empire. Today I'll say this. I'll do my job well. Whoever dares to provoke me, I'll give it a try. Put away your cheap face. Lu Yun, pack up and go home." Night Sorrow said to Lu Yun. "Don't go home. Didn't we agree that I'll hold a welcoming dinner for Ah Luo today?" Jiang Yu appeared. "Sure." Night Sorrow nodded to Jiang Yu. Jiang Yu stood out now, which meant that he didn't want to stay out of this and wasn't afraid of trouble. Gong Xianyu's face turned pale. Night Sorrow was obviously scolding her when he said, "Put away your cheap face." Night Sorrow left with Datura and Lu Yun. Today, Jiang Yu was accompanied by 2 guards who were heaven monarchs. Chapter 1551. Celestial Master Knight is so domineering. I really couldn't tell. Jiang Yu, who had left Treasure Hunter Street, said, "There's no other way. They won't let me live." Night Sorrow said, "It's indeed difficult to deal with. Gong Xian is thick-skinned and doesn't care about his reputation. Secondly, he's unscrupulous." Jiang Yu glanced behind him and said, "I know that. When she left my place that day, I knew she wouldn't let it go." Night Sorrow said, "She went to your place?" Jiang Yu asked in surprise. "Yes, she brought Ghost Monkey with her. However, Ghost Monkey didn't show up. She went alone." Night Sorrow nodded. "Then she's there to deliver you meat." Jiang Yu said with a smile. "What meat?" Datura asked, puzzled. "Ah Luo, this is what you don't understand. She's looking for Yi Shang to give him her body. What else could it be?" Jiang Yu said with a laugh. "Ah Luo, don't look at me like that. I just chased her out." Night Sorrow said to Datura, who was looking at him with a pair of beautiful eyes. "You don't have the guts." Datura said, "Ah Luo, you're good at training your husband." Jiang Yu said to Datura, "That's not it. Night Sorrow is very self-disciplined. Besides, he has several wives at home. He's too busy to deal with them. He doesn't have the time to flirt with other women." Datura said, "It's to reassure you that I sent a clone out to explore." Night Sorrow said, "A clone of his strength is very fierce." Jiang Yu said after glancing at Night Sorrow. Although she had analyzed that Night Sorrow might be a clone, she couldn't be sure because she hadn't investigated it. Now that she was sure that Night Sorrow was a clone, Jiang Yu was very shocked because Night Sorrow killed a heaven monarch with one move that day. It was a demonstration of his strength. They didn't go to the Kanglin mansion mainly because Night Sorrow didn't like it. The 3 of them went to a restaurant. Jiang Yu treated Night Sorrow and Ah Luo to a meal. New fastest and previous under Lean, have a seat. Ah Luo and I don't care about this. Miss Jiang doesn't mind it either. Night Sorrow Lu Yun's tea mind. Young master, this is not appropriate. Lu Yun shook his head. It's nothing. There are no messy rules in our family. Miss Jiang, do you mind? Mandela asked Jiang Yu. I don't mind. This is what I admire about you guys. Jiang Yu said. He was speaking from the bottom of his heart because there was a difference in status between rich and powerful families. Servants had no status. But Yi Shang was very amiable with Lu Yun. She had seen it all. After a feast, they had to part. Jiang Yu looked at Night Sorrow and said, Tomorrow, I will send more people to treasure-seeking Street. If you have the confidence, then fight. If you don't, then bear with it. They are not in the right and will not take the initiative to attack. Night Sorrow nodded. This was Jiang Yu's good intention. He couldn't reject it. After parting with Jiang Yu, Night Sorrow called for a beast carriage. The three of them sat in the beast carriage and headed to the side courtyard. Night Sorrow, as long as we have the confidence, we will fight. At most, we won't stay in ethereal Imperial City. Take Lu Yun and let's go home. Datura said. It's fine. The Arch-Realm cultivators respect their status. If they are not in the right, they won't attack easily. Why should we be afraid if they are not in the Arch-Realm? I will kill as many as they come. Night Sorrow shook his head. He wouldn't leave ethereal Imperial City. At this moment, in a very majestic mansion, Wu Feng was sitting in the main seat and listening to a servant's report. No class. There aren't many in the next generation of the 7 prefectures that can accomplish anything, Wu Feng muttered after hearing the report. Then what should I do? The servant bowed and asked. Take my message crystal. If no great emperors appear, don't worry about anything. If any great emperors appear, crush them. Go. Edgeless tossed a message crystal to his subordinate and disappeared from the hall. Wu Feng felt that he owed Night Sorrow a favor. He also admired Night Sorrow. So, he sent people to Treasure-Seeking Street to watch. He already knew everything that happened today. But if no the Arch-Realm cultivators appeared, he didn't want to interfere. Back in the courtyard, Night Sorrow chatted with Datura. He took out the maps, letters, and notes he obtained for Datura. Since Datura was here, he had to understand this place. Datura studied the letters while Night Sorrow went to refine pills. He had some ingredients that could be turned into Junyuan pills and Junhua pills. There were many King Realm cultivators in the 9-domain world. Junyuan pills were the best choice for cultivation. Of course, Junhua pills were better. After refining for an entire night, Yi Shang had refined quite a few pills. In the morning, while Night Sorrow was washing up, Datura came to Night Sorrow's side with a towel. Night Sorrow, I plan to go to the God Devil Castle. If possible, I want to join. Night Sorrow was stunned. Datura's decision surprised him. But then, he felt that it was reasonable. Datura was also a person who wanted to improve. Sure, but don't force yourself. If you can join, then join. If you can't, then so be it. Night Sorrow said. However, Datura planned to wait a few days. There would be a battle on Treasure-Seeking Street today. She wanted to accompany Night Sorrow. Yang Yu was a domineering person. Now that he had suffered, he naturally wouldn't let it go. When Night Sorrow, Datura, and Lu Yun arrived at Treasure-Seeking Street, it was already very lively. Night Sorrow opened the door of his stall and started business. Lu Yun stood at the front while Night Sorrow and Datura sat beside him. The two of them set up a small table and drank tea while chatting. Night Sorrow discovered that there were many people in the restaurant opposite the stall. Many of them were unfamiliar faces. Yang Yu and Gong Shenmun were also there. Young master, there are many people here today, Lu Yun said worriedly. Most of them are here to watch the show. If they were also their people, they wouldn't have occupied such a good spot. This isn't something I can do, Night Sorrow said. Datura nodded. Night Sorrow's words made sense. The people in the restaurant were drinking and chatting as if they didn't see Gong Shenmun and Yang Yu. There was no one in front of the shop. One had to know that at this time, people would usually line up to ask Night Sorrow to refine elixirs and weapons. Night Sorrow knew that they had been chased away. Now, there were 3 heavenly lords near Night Sorrow's stall. At this time, There were people who came because of the reputation and didn't know the situation. They walked towards Night Sorrow's shop. Yang Yu had instructed the people to intercept this situation. Of course, they couldn't just stand by and watch. An old man stopped a middle-aged man who was walking towards the stall. "If you don't want to die, get lost. This place is not open for business." This sentence was like a stone that stirred up 1,000 ripples. Night Sorrow moved. Chapter 1552. Yang Yu had already made his stance clear. He wanted to make sure that Night Sorrow had no place to stand. Hence, he made a big fuss. Today, 3 heaven monarchs and a team of sovereigns were in charge of sealing off Night Sorrow's shop. Night Sorrow wanted to counterattack. Naturally, he didn't care about the opponent's cultivation level. Rushing out of the shop, Night Sorrow executed the afterimage body. A few afterimages pounced on the other 2 heaven monarchs to stop them from helping. Then he executed the Great Death Destruction Slash with the space-splitting spear. After the Great Death Destruction Slash, he executed the Crescent Blade of the Soul Extermination Slash. The old man who was intercepting Night Sorrow's customers was alerted when Night Sorrow made his move. He took out his battle saber and slashed in the direction where Night Sorrow was coming from. The fiery red saber light was like a fire dragon as it rushed towards Night Sorrow. However, the same counterattack lost its effect when Night Sorrow's body flashed. At the same time, Night Sorrow's Great Death Destruction Slash produced a black halo that enveloped the old man's head. The Crescent Blade of the Soul Extermination Slash also slashed towards his head. Night Sorrow had overestimated his opponent. Originally, he executed the Soul Extermination Slash to disturb his opponent's soul spirit. However, his opponent was too weak. The Crescent Blade directly cut through the old man's soul spirit defense and cut into his divine sea. This was fatal. Moreover, Night Sorrow's space-splitting spear attack followed closely behind. Following the explosion, the old man's head was pierced through by Night Sorrow's space-splitting spear and exploded. A one-hit kill. Although the opponent was a heaven monarch, it didn't stop Night Sorrow's one-hit kill. Night Sorrow stretched out his left hand and used his energy to break the old man's left finger. He took the storage ring and waved the space-splitting spear. He then looked at the 2 heaven monarchs who destroyed his afterimages. The 2 heaven monarchs' faces changed. They held their weapons and looked at Night Sorrow. They were so shocked by the death of their companion that they forgot to attack. "If you delay my business for a day, I'll kill 1 person. Lu Yun, pack up. If anyone dares to attack us, call the patrols and let them deal with them." Night Sorrow returned to his stall with the Void Splitter Spear. "Yes." Lu Yun nodded. She was very excited. What was domineering? This was domineering. "Fellow Taoists, I'm still doing business. I'm here every day to receive everyone. I'll kill anyone who tries to stop me from doing business. As I said before, I'll kill 1 person for every day you delay my business. Just wait for me." Night Sorrow cupped his fists at the onlookers. No one moved, and Yang Yu did not give the order to attack. He did not dare to give the order to attack Night Sorrow. Because if Night Sorrow really called for the patrol team, then his men would be completely annihilated. The team that he personally brought with him was no match for the House of Azure Water's patrol team. If they could hold off 1 team, then a second team would quickly arrive. "Pack up and leave." Night Sorrow left the stall with Datura and Lu Yun. He walked very confidently, as if he was not there to do business, but to kill someone. Applause. Applause rang out in Treasure-Seeking Street. These stall owners had relatively low statuses and did not have any backing. Therefore, they were often suppressed and bullied. Now that Night Sorrow had made a move and made a strong counterattack, he had helped everyone vent their anger. Night Sorrow left with his wife and servants. The onlookers knew that this was the end of the day. Night Sorrow's stall was packed up. Yang Yu wanted to stop the customers, but he could not. His face had already fallen to the ground. The crowd dispersed, and Treasure-Seeking Street returned to normal. Jiang Yu, who was also in the restaurant opposite Night Sorrow's stall, turned her head to look at Gong Xianyu and Yang Yu, then left with a smile. She had arranged for a large number of troops to be stationed at Treasure-Seeking Street today. If anyone attacked Night Sorrow would call the authorities and the patrols would immediately appear. Moreover, they would be very strong. This was also the reason why Gong Xianyu and Yang Yu did not continue to attack. They knew very well what was going on. After Night Sorrow left, the onlookers dispersed as well. The news was spread. Wu Feng smiled after hearing the report. Killing one a day. He has a very stubborn personality. There's no benefit in going against a cultivator of the body of merit. Emperor, the confrontation tomorrow will be even more intense. Sky Sun Prefecture and Guanyue Prefecture will not allow themselves to lose face. I wonder if Night Sorrow will be able to withstand it, said the man in black. He was Wu Feng's personal attendant, Duan Yu. He has made his voice heard, but whether or not he can stand still depends on his strength. Even if I want to help him, I can only help him resist the pressure from the higher-ups. He'll have to deal with those below the Emperor realm himself, said Wu Feng. He had his own principles. An imperial emperor also had his dignity and integrity. Duan Yu nodded. He also understood this principle. After Night Sorrow left, Yang Yu and Gong Xianyu also left. The two of them went to a tea house to drink tea and discuss how to deal with the situation. Both of them had lost face today. Q update V new fastest S. Excellent, he's very strong. It's very difficult for an ordinary person to deal with him. We have to hire an expert to kill him, even if it's just crippling him, said Gong Xianyu. I'll bring my guard commander tomorrow. I don't believe we can't kill him. Let's consider him lucky today and let him live one more day. Yang Yu's face was gloomy. He was one of the young masters of Sky Sun Prefecture and could not afford to lose face like this. Gong Xianyu nodded. Then, he agreed to meet Yang Yu here tomorrow and left with Ghost Monkey. After leaving the tea house, Gong Xianyu looked at Ghost Monkey and asked, Ghost Monkey, how confident are you in defeating him? It's hard to say, but I'm confident in myself. Ghost Monkey nodded. I don't know if Yang Yu can do it. We have to be prepared. If Yang Yu can't do it, we'll take action. Gong Xianyu said. She had to plan for both sides. After strolling around the streets, Night Sorrow and the other two returned to the villa. Night Sorrow, that mansion for sale is not bad, but it costs 1,000,000 Saint Spirit stones. That price is too terrifying. Detura, you said. When the three of them were shopping, they saw a mansion for sale, but the price was exorbitant. 1,000,000 Saint Spirit stones. We can afford it, but we haven't established a firm foothold yet. It's not safe to pay such a high price, said Night Sorrow Yu. In order to establish a foothold in ethereal imperial city, wealth was one thing, but strength was also very important. Otherwise, it was normal to be killed or robbed. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow Yu and the other two went to Treasure-Seeking Street again. Difficulties were in front of them, but Night Sorrow Yu was not a coward. It was his character to face difficulties head-on. There were many onlookers, even more than yesterday. The world of cultivators was like this. If something happened, it could not be hidden from others. No one stopped looking for Night Sorrow Yu to concoct pills or refine equipment just because his store was being suppressed. No one was afraid. The people from Sky Sun Prefecture and Moon Gazing Prefecture would at most expel them. If they dared to kill them, the Azure Water Prefecture would not tolerate it. Night Sorrow Yu's store opened. Just as everyone was waiting for Night Sorrow Yu to start his killing spree, there was a change. A rather dispirited young man appeared with a blade in his hand. Yang Yu's subordinates went to stop him, but the young man simply swung his blade. Blade light flashed across the sky, and those who tried to stop him were cut in half by the dispirited young man. Chapter 1553. The man's hair was disheveled, and his aura was dispirited. However, his aura was very strong, just like the sword in his hand. He was an 8-star king, but he could kill sovereigns. Night Sorrow could tell that he used his spirit to activate the sword, which was different from using the saber of destiny. You are courting death. How dare you kill my men? Yang Yu's body flashed and flew out of the restaurant opposite. He landed not far from the dispirited young man with his weapon out of its sheath. As the saying goes, a good dog doesn't block the way. If your men block the way, they should be killed. Since you dare to touch him, I will call the patrol team. Let's see if they will do anything. Night Sorrow walked out of the stall. The dispirited young man could be said to be helping him kill someone. He couldn't sit back and do nothing. Night Sorrow, I will kill you. I will. Hearing that Night Sorrow was going to call the patrol team, Yang Yu was so angry that his face turned green. However, he didn't dare to do anything. He thought that he was weak and didn't want to provoke the patrol team. If he wanted to kill someone, he had subordinates. This is not the first time you have said this. We will treat it as bullsh**. Brother, come here. Datura waved at the dispirited young man. I am still taking orders today. Let's see if anyone dares to stop me. Well, if anyone dares to stop me, I will kill one more and then close the stall. Night Sorrow glanced at Yang Yu and said, Me. At this time, someone shouted. Yang Yu could only stop them, but he couldn't kill them. Therefore, he couldn't scare them. However, at this time, a man in black swung his sword at Night Sorrow's back. He was a heaven monarch. When someone shouted that they wanted to refine something, Yang Yu gave his subordinate a look. He was in a dilemma. Instead of letting Night Sorrow make the first move, he might as well send someone to do it first. How dare you sneak an attack? Go to hell. Datura attacked with her hollow blade and directly used the death destruction slash. Right now, Datura's strength was different from before. After absorbing the essence left behind by Datura Chinensis, she had already surpassed the Heaven Monarch realm. A black light flashed and landed on the Heaven Monarch's body. The moment the Heaven Monarch lost his ability to react, Datura's hollow blade landed on his head. A single slash had the same effect as the dispirited man. The only difference was that the opponent he killed was of a different level. Night Sorrow said to Datura and the dispirited man, Aluo, it's about time for today. Let's go home and have some tea. Brothers, let's go together. If I can help you, I won't be stingy. Packing up and leaving, Night Sorrow's group left treasure-seeking street. The furious Yang Yu and Nangong Yu were left behind. They didn't expect Night Sorrow's wife to be so strong. Night Sorrow and the others left, and today's matter came to an end. Night Sorrow led the group into a restaurant and ordered a table of dishes. Brother, have a seat. Let's talk. What do you need my help with? Night Sorrow said to the dispirited man standing at the side. My sister was poisoned, so I came out of the vast wilderness to find a solution. I went to many places, but I don't have the resources and can't pay the price. Also, no one can cure the sky scorpion's poison, the dispirited man said. The sky scorpion's poison is harmful to the body. What level is the sky scorpion? Night Sorrow asked. He knew a little about the sky scorpion. It was a strange poison. It was fine if it was of a low level, but if it was of a high level, it was almost impossible to cure. It's not a high level, but it is a very rare blood sky scorpion. I wonder if Lord Night Sorrow can cure it? The dispirited man asked. I can try, but I don't know how effective it is. After all, I haven't seen your sister's condition, Night Sorrow said. Ji Dao pleads for your help, Lord. The dispirited man, Ji Dao, bowed to Night Sorrow. This is a colored glass pill. Its detoxification effect is not bad. You can try it. Here are 2 life spirit pills. It can help with recovery. Night Sorrow took out a few pills and handed them to Ji Dao. Thank you, Lord. Ji Dao will first send the pills back to the vast wilderness, then return. Ji Dao's life is yours. If Ji Dao doesn't return, I am willing to accept the wrath of the heavens. Ji Dao knelt on one knee and swore a heavenly oath. First, there's no need for that, you can go. Treating your sister's injuries is more important. Night Sorrow raised his arm and used energy to bind Ji Dao. Ji Dao has something on his mind. I have to leave now. Please forgive me, Lord. Ji Dao bowed to Night Sorrow. Go back quickly. This matter is urgent. Night Sorrow nodded to Ji Dao. Ji Dao then left. He was indeed in a hurry. This Ji Dao is very strong. He should be from a special race in the vast wilderness. Datura said. He has the quintessential energy cultivation of an 8-star sovereign king, but his soul power is at the heavenly monarch level. That's why he can easily kill a sovereign with his soul power, Yishang said. He was lucky to be able to meet young master and madam. Otherwise, without resources, how could he get the pills? Lu Yun said. Men need to have a sense of responsibility. They need to protect their family at all costs. This is worthy of respect. If you can help, then help. It is also a good karma. Who doesn't have a difficult time? Night Sorrow said. Helping Ji Dao cost him a few pills, but Night Sorrow didn't feel bad at all. He felt that it was worth it. Just based on what Ji Dao said, it was worth it. 1 or 2 pills are nothing to us, but to him, they are life-saving. It wasn't easy for him to travel across mountains and rivers to come out of the vast wilderness. Datura was also very emotional. After Yang Yu and Gong Shenmoon ransacked an inn, they began to discuss how to deal with Night Sorrow. Where is your guard commander? Can you not send trash to die? Don't you think it's embarrassing? This is a blow to our morale and boost others' prestige. Gong Shenmoon said as she tidied up her skirt. My guard commander went to do something and will be back in 2 days. This is not just my problem. You have to help too. Yang Yu said, I believe in you. You can definitely handle it. Isn't he just a bumpkin without any background? Gong Shenmoon glanced at Yang Yu and said, if it doesn't work, we can go to the Divine Devil Castle for a mission. If we really want to kill him, it will be as easy as squashing an ant. Yang Yu glanced at Gong Shenmoon and said, he didn't want to spend too much money. A mission in the Divine Devil Castle wasn't something that could be solved with just a few Saint Spirit stones. Then what do you think we should do now? Gong Shenmoon didn't want to embarrass herself anymore. She felt that she had lost all her face in the past 2 days. Go to his residence. Tonight, we will arrange for a few heavenly monarchs to kill him. Yang Yu spoke his mind. But the patrol team is a problem. Gong Shenmoon didn't want to break the rules of the ethereal imperial city. It was set by the battle emperor. It was an imperial edict, and the 7 prefecture lords were the executors. Chapter 1554. After Night Sorrow and the other 2 returned to the courtyard, Lu Yun cleaned up the courtyard and went to rest in the side room beside the gatehouse. Night Sorrow's courtyard was in the shape of a courtyard house. It was a courtyard house in a small garden. However, the small garden was not big. After all, it was just a small courtyard house. Datura and Night Sorrow stayed in the main room. At this time, Datura made tea and chatted with Night Sorrow. He asked about Night Sorrow's cultivation situation. Night Sorrow told Datura about his situation. With the help of the Haotian god Pagoda, Night Sorrow's cultivation and realm were rapidly increasing. The level of his battle intent was constantly deepening. In addition, he was deducing a few subattribute willpower. The void willpower was perfected. Night Sorrow began to combine the void willpower and battle intent to study the void world. It was a kind of heaven and earth trend. In addition, Night Sorrow's comprehension of the space-time willpower had reached the level of an 8-point monarch. In other words, he had comprehended the space-time willpower to 98%. He was just 2 points away from perfecting it and reaching the heaven monarch realm. There was a clerical error in the previous chapter. It was not an 8-star king but an 8-point monarch. The comprehension of the destruction willpower was also relatively smooth. With the support of time and the Haotian god Pagoda, the comprehension was very fast. You should seize the time to cultivate. Cultivate your highest achievement to the imperial realm. Then, your height will increase greatly, Datura said. I think so too. Now, I have studied the combination of battle intent and the void willpower. Once the combination is complete, I will reach the half-step imperial realm. I can follow this path to reach the imperial realm. How about your situation? Now, I feel that you are no longer a heavenly monarch. Night Sorrow looked at Datura and asked. After I refined Datura Chinensis's source energy and fused with her source energy, I comprehended a new ability called the Death Domain. It is the embryonic form of the momentum of heaven and earth. When I completely comprehend it, It will become the momentum of heaven and earth. According to the current situation of the fusion, when I completely fuse with it, I will reach the Emperor realm. However, it will take a long time and there will be bottlenecks. After all, this is a breakthrough in the realm, Datura Chinura said. It's a good thing. This is all hope, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then, since you have the yellow spring stone, can you comprehend the law of death and the will of death? Datura thought of another question. My original body has never stopped researching the will of nothingness and the will of spacetime. Now that I have the will of destruction, I don't have the energy to research anything else. The yellow spring stone is in this body of mine, so I don't know if I can comprehend it specifically. Night Sorrow shook his head. Yes, you have too many things now, and they are all high-end and top-notch. Let's put the death attribute aside for now. Datura nodded. Also, the two of us have to be careful. They can't do anything to us in treasure-seeking street during the day. They might use underhanded methods. We have to be careful. Assassination is possible, Night Sorrow said. That is a possibility. However, as long as they don't come to the Emperor realm, the two of us can handle it, Datura said. She was not only confident in herself, but also in Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow had killed a half-step Emperor realm expert twice. Lai Bing and Evil Bing were examples. There were also examples of killing an Emperor realm expert. The Magic Dragon General's clone had also fallen in the hands of Night Sorrow. Just as the two of them were talking, there was a commotion outside. Glancing at Datura, Night Sorrow reached out and pulled out the space-splitting spear. Luo, help me restrain the opponent while protecting yourself. Don't go back today. At this moment, 4 heaven monarchs appeared around Night Sorrow's small courtyard. There were also 2 monarch realm experts outside. This was the strength that Yang Yu and Gong Xian could mobilize. In the celestial realm, there were very few Emperor realm experts. If one wanted to occupy a territory and become a king, he or she would be a warlord. There weren't many heaven monarchs either. Even people like Yang Yu and Gong Xian could only mobilize a limited amount of people. After all, not everyone could cultivate to the heaven monarch realm. One shot. There were many heaven monarchs in the Guanyue prefecture and the Tianyang prefecture, but they weren't people that the two of them could mobilize. This time, there were 4 people. 2 were with Yang Yu, 2 were with Gong Xian, and 1 of them was with Ghost Monkey. Because the courtyard was small, the array that Night Sorrow could set up was limited. Therefore, it was easily broken through. Yang Yu and Gong Xian also appeared in the small courtyard. Both of them were heaven monarchs. The 7 prefecture lords were all emperors. Their children's aptitudes were naturally not bad. In addition, they had unlimited resources. Therefore, it wasn't a problem for them to cultivate to the king or monarch realm. If they were lucky enough, they could become heaven monarchs. You really have no bottom line. Come on then. The energy on Night Sorrow's body vibrated. The mystic yellow armor protected his back. Then he waved the space-splitting spear and charged toward Yang Yu. Kill! Yang Yu also shouted. At this moment, the Monarch Realm experts outside the courtyard activated the array disc. They activated the array disc to cover up the battle here. They didn't want others to find out and patrol teams to come. Night Sorrow wanted to kill Yang Yu. Naturally, Yang Yu and Gong Xian's men wouldn't just stand by and watch. They directly waved their weapons and charged toward Night Sorrow. After using the afterimage body, Night Sorrow's space-splitting spear stabbed toward a heaven monarch in front. With the improvement of his cultivation, Night Sorrow's afterimage body had reached a level where it was hard to distinguish between the real and the fake. Seeing an opponent charging toward them, the heaven monarchs all waved their weapons to block. This allowed Night Sorrow to easily approach the heaven monarch in front. If he wanted to kill Yang Yu, this heaven monarch would be an obstacle. Void to origin kill. Night Sorrow attacked with the space-splitting spear and directly used the void to origin kill. Seeing Night Sorrow attack, the heaven monarch attacked with the longsword in his hand. He stabbed toward Night Sorrow's space-splitting spear. With a loud explosion, the tip of the heaven monarch's longsword was punctured. At the same time, his body was sent flying. Night Sorrow's body shook and continued to charge forward. The space-splitting spear shook and turned into the void to extreme kill. Since the opponent had already come to kill him, Night Sorrow didn't hold back and continuously used his killing moves. This spear was extremely fast. The right arm of the Heaven Monarch blocking the way was still numb. He could only endure the intense discomfort in his body and wave his sword to block Night Sorrow's attack. However, everything was in vain. Night Sorrow's space-splitting spear had an energy vibration and directly blocked the longsword that didn't have much energy. The space-splitting spear directly entered the Heaven Monarch's chest and abdomen. Then, a purple halo exploded and destroyed the Heaven Monarch's dantian from his chest to abdomen. In this Heaven Monarch's horrified eyes, Night Sorrow's space-splitting spear pierced through the Heaven Monarch's forehead. After kicking the Heaven Monarch's corpse away, Night Sorrow charged toward Yang Yu. Today, Night Sorrow's main target was Yang Yu. If he didn't get rid of Yang Yu, trouble would continue to exist. Seeing Night Sorrow kill his Heaven Monarch subordinate with just 2 moves, Yang Yu's expression changed. He waved his hand and asked another Heaven Monarch to stop Night Sorrow. He drew his long sword and was ready to fight. During this period, Yang Yu hadn't fought. It wasn't that he wasn't strong enough. It was that he didn't want to fight with Night Sorrow because he was the son of the Tianyang Prefecture Master. Chapter 1555. The Siege. At this moment, aside from the Heaven Monarch that was being held back by Datura, Ghost Monkey and another Heaven Monarch charged towards Night Sorrow. Yang Yu and Gong Xianyu also made their move. The 4 of them surrounded Night Sorrow. Today is the day that you, a native, will pay the price for your blindness. Yang Yu brandished a sword aura towards Night Sorrow. Perhaps you are right. Today is the day that you will pay the price. However, perhaps you will be the one to pay the price for your arrogance. Night Sorrow's body flashed as he dodged the besiegement. He then brandished his space splitter spear and charged towards Yang Yu. Night Sorrow's main target was Yang Yu. Normally, Night Sorrow would kill Gong Xianyu first. However, Gong Xianyu was a woman, and Night Sorrow had not reached the point where he had to capture and kill a woman. Therefore, Yang Yu became his first target. Yang Yu was the son of an Imperial Realm expert. The consequences of killing him were very serious. However, Night Sorrow could not bear it. He had to kill him first. As for the consequences, he would deal with it later. Yang Yu brandished his sword and attacked Night Sorrow. He then quickly retreated. He had seen the strength of Night Sorrow's attacks. Therefore, he did not want to clash head-on with Night Sorrow. Since he had decided to kill, Night Sorrow would not hold back. He also would not be soft-hearted. The Space Splitter Spear executed the Great Emperor Samsara slash. At the same time, the Space Splitter Spear was unleashed. It slashed towards the back and blocked the attacks of Gong Xianyu and the others. Then, the soul-extinguishing slash was sent towards Yang Yu. However, Gong Xian's speed was extremely fast. His figure flashed twice, crossing the spatial rift's blockade. Then, he slashed his sword at Night Sorrow's waist. Seeing that Gong Xian had taken the initiative to attack, Yang Yu stopped retreating and rushed forward. At the same time, a red light appeared on his head, blocking the halo produced by Night Sorrow's Emperor Samsara slash. Then he unsheathed his sword to meet Night Sorrow's Space Splitter Spear. At this moment, he felt that this was an opportunity. An opportunity to kill Night Sorrow together with Gong Xian. Night Sorrow understood that Yang Yu had a soul defense treasure. Although his absolute art had no effect on the soul, its effect on space-time was still there. Yang Yu's speed was obviously much slower. Night Sorrow did not dodge Gong Xianyu's sword attack. Instead, he kicked out with his right leg. His target was Gong Xianyu's dantian. The Space Splitter Spear continued forward. It was the nihility returning to origin. Gong Xianyu's sword erupted with an intense light. Then, it stabbed towards Night Sorrow's waist. Die! However, Gong Xianyu's sword did not pierce Night Sorrow's waist. Gong Xianyu's sword did not pierce through. The defense of Night Sorrow's mysterious yellow armor was not something that Gong Xianyu could break through. As for the small amount of sword chi that had pierced through, it was nothing compared to Night Sorrow's virtuous immortal body's defense. However, at this moment, Night Sorrow's attack arrived. His right leg was like a giant axe as it chopped down on Gong Xianyu's chest. Night Sorrow's kick was so powerful that Gong Xianyu looked as if he had been hit by a giant beast. His originally proud pair of surging breasts were smashed flat. His entire chest caved in, and his Dantian's true chi was scattered. He had no power to fight back. Seeing Gong Xianyu fly backwards, Ghost Monkey's expression changed. He no longer cared about attacking Night Sorrow. His body flashed as he grabbed Gong Xianyu's body and rushed out of the courtyard. He knew that this was impossible. He understood Gong Xianyu's strength. Not only had he failed to break through Night Sorrow's defense, but he had also been kicked out of the courtyard by Night Sorrow. How could he continue fighting? If Night Sorrow grabbed Gong Xianyu and killed Gong Xianyu, then Gong Xianyu would definitely die. 6 heaven monarchs had come tonight. Night Sorrow had killed one of them. Gong Xianyu and Ghost Monkey had retreated from the battle. Datura was suppressing another heaven monarch. If it wasn't for his strong soul spirit defense, he would have been a corpse by now. Only Yang Yu and another heaven monarch were left. These were the opponents that Night Sorrow had to face. After crippling Gong Xianyu with a kick, Night Sorrow used the Void Return to Origin kill with his Space Splitter Spear and attacked Yang Yu. Gong Xianyu's defeat shocked Yang Yu. At this moment, he was facing Night Sorrow's Space Splitter Spear attack. It was too late for him to retreat. He could only continue to attack Night Sorrow with his sword. If you think I'm easy to bully, then go to hell. Night Sorrow didn't care about the other heaven monarch attacking his back. He moved his Space Splitter Spear down by 1 foot, dodging Yang Yu's sword, and stabbed towards Yang Yu's Dantian. Yang Yu's face was filled with fear. At this moment, he remembered that Gong Xianyu's full-strength sword attack couldn't hurt Night Sorrow. Therefore, Night Sorrow didn't need to worry about the damage of his sword. What about him? If he was hit, he would definitely die. In a panic, Yang Yu pressed his sword down with his right hand and grabbed Night Sorrow's Space Splitter Spear with his left hand. He grabbed it. Yang Yu's sword didn't suppress Night Sorrow's Space Splitter Spear, but it still slowed down the spear. Therefore, his left hand successfully grabbed the Space Splitter Spear. Night Sorrow's right hand burst with energy. The spear light shot out and rushed towards Yang Yu's Dantian. Then he used his left hand to attack Yang Yu's head with oscillating fist. Faster $V Q fastest I up FW. At this time, Yang Yu's subordinate, the Heavenly Monarch, also stabbed Night Sorrow's back. Although it didn't pierce through Night Sorrow's defense, the force pushed Night Sorrow forward. This force pushed the Space Splitter Spear forward another half a foot. Night Sorrow's body and Yang Yu's body were already very close. Bang! Night Sorrow's left fist landed on Yang Yu's head. However, Yang Yu's Divine Sea's defensive treasure was very powerful. Not only could it block soul attacks, it could also block material attacks. It also blocked Night Sorrow's punch and didn't let Yang Yu's head explode. So what if it didn't explode? Night Sorrow's violent punch shook Yang Yu until he was bleeding from his 7 orifices. Naturally, his hands, which were controlling Night Sorrow's Space Splitter Spear, lost their strength. Night Sorrow's Space Splitter Spear instantly pierced Yang Yu's Dantian and then exploded with energy. With his Dantian broken and his cultivation destroyed, Yang Yu woke up. However, he was faced with Night Sorrow's left fist again. Like a watermelon, without Yang Yu's self-activated defensive treasure, it lost its power and could no longer protect Yang Yu. Yang Yu's head was directly smashed. A red bead appeared in front of Night Sorrow's eyes. Night Sorrow casually scooped up the red bead and shot back with his spear. Yang Yu's subordinate, who was constantly attacking him like a chick eating rice, was sent flying. At this time, Datura also killed his opponent. After killing his opponent, Datura flew into the air and slashed with his hollow blade. The blade light enveloped the Heavenly Monarch who was beaten back by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow didn't join forces with Datura to attack this Heavenly Monarch. Instead, he put away Yang Yu's storage ring and weapon and then watched Datura's battle. After 2 consecutive slashes, Datura shocked his opponent to the point that he couldn't resist. Then, he used the Great Death Destruction slash and killed this heavenly monarch with 1 slash. He didn't even have a chance to escape. 6 heavenly monarchs came, and 4 of them died. Only Ghost Monkey escaped with Gong Xianyu. At this time, the patrol team arrived. It was led by a heavenly monarch. They directly took control of the team that Yang Yu and Gong Xianyu brought over outside the courtyard. Night Sorrow and Datura also came out. Chapter 1556. Lord Heavenly Monarch, this is my courtyard. Just now, Guanyue Prefecture's young prefecture Lord Gong Xianyu and Tianyang Prefecture's young prefecture Lord Yang Yu brought people here to attack us, Night Sorrow said. It's Night Heaven Master. I just recognized you. Young Mistress told me to focus on patrolling this area. I was careless. The Heavenly Monarch leading the team cupped his hands at Night Sorrow. He was still angry because he had dealt with the 2 sovereigns who refused to be captured. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, he recognized Night Sorrow. When Guanyue Prefecture and Tianyang Prefecture were mentioned, he also thought of Night Sorrow. This matter had caused quite a stir. It's nothing. Thank you for your hard work, Lord Heavenly Monarch, Night Sorrow said. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, what's the situation? The Heavenly Monarch asked. He was the patrol captain of Guanyue Prefecture, Jiangmu. 6 heavenly monarchs came. Only Gong Xianyu and Ghost Marquis escaped, Night Sorrow said. Yang Yu is dead? Jiangmu was shocked. Yes, he's dead. Night Sorrow nodded. Jiangmu exhaled. This was a big deal. The prefecture lord's son had been killed. This had not happened for many years. Recently, it had happened one after another. Not long ago, the Dark Shadow Prefecture's young prefecture lord was killed. This was another one. The situation is a little serious. Be careful, Night Heaven Master. I have to go back and report. Jiangmu cupped his hands at Night Sorrow and left with the captured people. Night Sorrow and Datura returned to the prefecture. Lu Yun looked at the 2 in shock because there were 4 corpses in the courtyard. They were all heavenly monarchs. Night Sorrow, we have to make plans to escape. But it's fine. Killing Yang Yu can be considered as venting our anger, Datura said. Night Sorrow nodded. It's a clone, but this loss will make him furious. Perhaps the Heavenly Sun Prefecture Master will step in. Young Master, isn't there a rule in Ethereal Imperial City? They can't do as they please, right? Lu Yun looked at Night Sorrow and said, rules need to be obeyed, but they are also meant to be broken. If the Heavenly Sun Prefecture Master were to take action against us, it would be like a sudden clap of thunder. The patrols wouldn't even be able to catch a shadow of him, so it would be pointless to be killed by him. Night Sorrow shook his head. Night Sorrow, what do you think we should do? If it doesn't work, we'll leave. It's not too late to leave now. Datura also knew the seriousness of the matter. But even so, he still had to do what he had to do. As a cultivator, he could not allow his dignity to be trampled on. Treasure Seeking Street. Let's go to Treasure Seeking Street now. There are many people there, but it's unrealistic for anyone to attack us without anyone noticing. Would the Heavenly Sun Prefecture Master dare to break the rules of the Ethereal Battle Monarch in public? I don't think he would dare, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. After making the decision, Night Sorrow and the other 2 went directly to Treasure Seeking Street. There was a back hall in Treasure Seeking Street where one could rest. Many of the stalls were their homes. Night Sorrow and the other 2 had calmed down, but the trouble they had caused was too big. When the seriously injured Gong Xianyu returned to his residence, Guanyue Prefecture Master Gong Yufan knew about it. Gong Xianyu was in a dispirited state. His cultivation had almost been destroyed by Night Sorrow's kick. Although his dantian had not been shattered, he was still seriously injured. Seeing the injured Gong Xianyu, Gong Yufan's face was filled with anger. He waved his hand and slapped Ghost Monkey. What are you doing? Is this how you protect the young miss? Prefecture Master, the opponent was too strong. We sent 6 heavenly monarchs. Perhaps only the young miss and I managed to escape, Ghost Monkey said after he regained his footing. Tell me the details. Gong Yufan glared at Ghost Monkey. Ghost Monkey bowed and explained the situation. Go and investigate the situation. See how that brat Yang Yu is doing. Gong Yufan instructed Ghost Monkey. He wanted to vent his anger, but he was not brainless. As one of the 7 prefecture masters, Gong Yufan was very smart. Guanyue Prefecture was fine, but Tianyang Prefecture was in an uproar. Yang Yu's original body went to find his father, Yang Tianlai, and asked him to seek justice for him. Are you stupid? Why wouldn't you let others do this? I already warned you that there are no good people in Guanyue Prefecture. You still wanted to mix with that fickle woman. Serves you right. Yang Tianlai scolded. Yang Yu, who was scolded, did not say anything. He never expected that he and Gong Xianyu would be killed so miserably when they went to kill Night Sorrow with 4 heavenly monarchs. Stay at home. Don't go out. Yang Tianlai glared at Yang Yu and left. According to Yang Yu, Yang Tianlai arrived at Night Sorrow's residence. After checking that there was no one there, Yang Tianlai knew that Night Sorrow had left. He was here to kill. The place was not crowded, and he was a great emperor. If he wanted to kill someone, he could leave. The patrols would not be able to see him. Now that Night Sorrow was not here, Yang Tianlai knew that Night Sorrow had already thought of this step. Yang Tianlai arrived at Treasure Seeking Street, but things would not end here. Yang Tianlai arrived at Night Sorrow's stall. Even at night, Treasure Seeking Street was filled with feasting and revelry, but it could not hide his aura. Get out here. Yang Tianlai shouted when he arrived at Night Sorrow's stall. Night Sorrow and Datura were drinking tea in the back hall when Yang Tianlai arrived. At the same time, Duan Yu secretly crushed Wufeng's messaging crystal. Hearing Yang Tianlai shout, Night Sorrow walked out. Shouting and shouting? Is it very impressive? You dare to kill this seat's son. You will die. Yang Tianlai's eyes were filled with coldness. Your son would say the same thing, but he is dead. Arrogant? What right do you have to be so arrogant? With your cultivation and status? If you were the owner of Ethereal Dynasty, or if you were stronger than Ethereal Battle Emperor, then you would have no problem. But can you do it now? Night Sorrow replied indifferently. Night Sorrow's words were harsh. If Yang Tianlai dared to say anything, it would be a great disrespect to Ethereal Battle Emperor. The consequences would be severe. Ethereal Battle Emperor stood at the pinnacle of all cultivators. He was number 1 on the Celestial Demon list. His dignity could not be blasphemed. Yang Tianlai did not dare. You are just an outsider. How dare you order our Ethereal Dynasty around? Yang Tianlai's killing intent was getting stronger. I am an outsider in your eyes, but you are trash in my eyes. A crooked stick will have a crooked shadow. You are not a good person either. If you want to fight, then go ahead. I don't care. It is just a clone. I can use my clone to fight you until you are punished by the rules of Ethereal Imperial City. Night Sorrow said. He was not afraid of Yang Tianlai. Because you are an outsider, there are some things that you do not understand. You will understand after you die today. Lord Battle Emperor, I, Yang Tianlai, will kill someone today. It is not that I am disrespectful to you, but I will ask for your forgiveness after this. Yang Tianlai took out a crystal ball and recorded his words. Then, he kept the crystal ball and looked at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was a little stunned. He did not expect Yang Tianlai to be so playful. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.